Let's go.
Let's go. It's Monday. It's the EST Hangout. Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola with ya here. And Hernan Salas, the Latino Heat, joins us. What a way to start a Monday.
I'm very excited. I'm so happy. When I saw him this morning, I was like, there's my boy. There's my boy.
What's going on, everybody?
How you doing today?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah, feeling good on this Monday. Yeah.
Big Oiler win?
Yeah, that was it's a good win, man. I
Yeah.
was just telling I didn't go to the game, but I was telling Tom on TV it looked absolutely amazing. There's something about that stadium full, eh, Maddie?
Sorry, I'm just making sure we're on the air.
Oh,
I
yeah,
always
there-
do that.
sounds
And volume
great.
was up.
Just looked great.
There isn't a better stadium in
man.
Canada when full.
Yeah.
That has that type of mystique than Commonwealth Stadium. So the other big stadiums in Canada, Olympic Stadium, which is trash.
Can't even use it.
Can't even use it. Rogers in Toronto, BC Place in Vancouver. Rogers in Toronto, no one ever wants to, I don't know, it's ugly.
It's a ballpark now,
Yeah.
too. Like, it's only a ballpark.
Yeah.
They're turning it into just
When Commonwealth or when BC Place is sold out, it can look cool. Like the imagery around BC Place is awesome.
that. Yeah.
But there's something about the outdoors being sold, right? There's just something about having the open air
Yeah.
stadium, 55,000 people. At times we've seen that hit 60,000. And that feeling that everyone's there, there's no better place.
And I'll say too, I'm not a big uniform guy, and I was kind of like, they're not bad, but when you saw them on the players and on the ice, they grew on me, man. Everything looked awesome.
They popped.
Yeah,
Those
they
uniforms
did.
popped.
I don't think they're going to look good inside a rink.
They're going to use
no,
them two
no,
times.
I know. And
are they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
said that when they came out. I knew that they were going to look good to me at a Heritage Classic.
It was just
In
the lighting
outdoor
hit
rink.
it right? Is that what it is?
The look of the whole stadium, how it's different, it's unique, you're further away, all of it, I think just plays into it. The fact that it should be a little more old-timey.
Yeah.
It had that feel. I think when you get to Rogers and there is the better lighting, and it's just, it's more of a traditional game at that point.
Yeah.
We're going to look at it and be like, this does look weird.
Yeah, were you guys in the media center or outside?
We're in the auxiliary media center,
Which is
right
way
outside.
better.
It was
You
way
wanna know something?
better.
So the one issue I have with the press box at Commonwealth, well, there's a few, but the one I do is that the windows don't open.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So when you're there covering a game, you don't get the feel, the crowd. You don't feel the atmosphere. You don't feel the air even.
Yeah.
It's just very quiet. You get the PA little announcement of the stats that come on after each
Yeah.
play. You hear the media talking. It's just it seems a little off.
I
You
know-
go to an Oiler game at Rogers,
Yeah.
you're out. You feel the atmosphere.
Yeah.
We then got seats outside below the camera. So we're dead center ice.
It was amazing.
And you're outside where you got to feel the game. You
Yeah.
feel the atmosphere. I would have been actually upset if our seats were inside the press box, not outside, because I felt the outside. It just, that's what you're there for.
No, and it's weird because I've been there for 2 years now, and I know where Morley and Dave sit. They
Yeah.
can open the
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know I know there's a few other suites you can, but I don't think they can all open the
Not
windows.
not in the press. That's
Not in
one
the
side.
media area,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
all the little suites for assistant coaches and
Right.
visiting radio and all that. I don't know if you can open. I don't think you can outside of maybe 2 or 3 of the setups there.
Yeah, I don't know if CG, where he does PA, would open or not. I don't think it
Yeah,
does.
I don't think it does.
But I was talking to Dusty about it a little yesterday too, about how for a play-by-play guy, how big of a deal is that?
Well,
He's like,
obviously
it
the TSN,
changes.
yeah.
Well, it does help when you could feel that crowd and feel the game. Now, when they go places, they could get the crowd put into their ears so they could still hear it and
Yeah.
feel it that way. But there's just something about, I think, even just feeling that cold air.
We were, Maddie, when the Oilers scored, I was on my way down to the press box. I had the media meal. It was fantastic. That whole event was just really well done. I'll start with that. And Brett Kulak scored the first goal. Then when they got the second one, I was like, oh my God. We see 18,400 at Rogers Place get on their feet and they get excited. And you're like, yeah, that's pretty good. But then 55,000 people, scattered Flames fans about there, dancing and cheer, and they have the goal horn, and I was like, this is cool. On the third goal, I had to take video of it because of how good our seats were, and we were right there.
I saw your photos. Yeah,
It turned out great, and honestly, we had press box seats, and then we were bumped to the auxiliary, and that might have been a blessing in disguise. questionable choice as to who got the spots over us. 100% conversation for a different day, but
No one
it was a
respects
blessing
EST right now, and I'm good with that.
Well, hey, there were some people coming up to us and saying,
Yeah.
you know, we love listening to you and thank you. And
Listeners, and I'm not talking listeners.
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Some people in other positions don't exactly respect
they
us.
just don't
but,
know yet. They don't know yet.
They don't know how this works, and
No, and when they find
just
out,
tune in on
You're,
tune in.
you're
and
the
you'll
new
catch it.
guys again, right?
We are,
Yeah.
well, and
Yeah,
it's
so-
and we're not traditional anymore, right? We've
Yeah,
we've
of
gone out
course.
to like ultimately Edmonton Sports Talk, and I do want to stay with Heritage Classic
Sure,
and talking
yeah.
about Commonwealth, that, but Edmonton Sports Talk is really the first online sports station in the country.
Yeah.
Live programming, live content,
Yeah.
live audio stream. I don't know of anyone else across the country that has gone fully online with a sports radio station. There's Steve Dangle Podcast Network that has done some amazing things. They do
Sure.
some great content. They post it out there, but that's podcast,
Podcasting
YouTube
is
live
different.
form.
Yeah.
But it's not a full daily lineup, I don't believe. There's Oilers Nation here in town, but again, not a full daily lineup.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're that first, so we're I don't want to use this word because it's a little too much credit for us, but I don't know lack of a better term
Pump
right
our
now.
tires.
Trailblazers right now in this
Oh,
country
sweet.
for this. And that for there's people that don't know like they're stuck with traditional stuff and they don't
Yeah.
understand how this all works. So that's why we get bumped from the press box into the auxiliary. But
Well,
again, way better.
no,
Way better.
That could be partially true, but I also had discussions. I hung out with the NHL PR comms team quite a bit.
Oh, yeah?
They're like, yeah, you guys.
Is
We
those
know
the-
we know you guys are a station. It's
Oh.
just you guys are new. And
Yeah.
and there was a few people that the Oilers needed to put into the press box that could not make it down to the auxiliary press box.
Oh, that makes
literally.
sense,
And they'd been around for a long time. And you know what? Honestly, it worked out way better. I went in there a few times just to get some game notes, coffee. We got some chips and all that. And Garnett from the Oilers game night staff, shout out to him.
Is that where we got them?
He hooked us up,
Oh,
or
thank
the
you,
whole
sir.
EST crew, with the 20th anniversary medallion Heritage Classic toques that I'm wearing today. That was really nice of him.
When I got there, I was a little worried about the game. It felt very sterile when I was walking Commonwealth when I first got there. It felt very because
Okay.
it is a cookie cutter event. The NHL comes in,
league,
drops
yeah.
it down, and like there was things like Elks games. You could stand at CW's bar. You could stand on the north side, watch the game
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff. They put up fences so you couldn't. They didn't even have CW's open, and that's kind of actually where I was going to go watch part of the game and stand over there a little bit.
I'm
But
glad they didn't open it. I like when people are in their seats. I know that's a
I
cool
do
hangout
too.
during
But
Elks
there's
games.
those
but
cool spots to hang out or
I
whatever.
know.
But it
Yeah, that's a good point. It's you kind of take away from it. Right?
and it
Yeah, but
takes
you want
away
that
from
party zone.
The
No,
traffic flow.
of course. But
Well,
yeah,
they added
yes.
merch spots in those, and it was very terrible
That was
spots for
weird.
merch. It was
Yeah.
hard to get through.
Yeah.
But then once the game got going, it felt fun. It felt real. It had to me a Grey Cup feel there, where it's
Yeah.
like it was a
looked
good party
awesome.
because you had a mix of both crowds. It wasn't just Oiler fans there. There was a lot of Flames fans that made the trek up. Now it's still more Oiler fans than Flames fans, so it was an Oiler home game even in the seats.
A lot of national media too, eh?
Some national
I saw
media
them
here,
on
and
Twitter.
it had that feel, which was that's what Commonwealth is for, right? It's to have these events, but also at the same time, when these events come, we see the problems of Commonwealth that need to be
Yeah.
fixed.
I saw some photos circulated on Twitter, and you guys were there. Like the concourse was a mess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here's my one solution for that, at least for last night, because I tried doing a full lap of Commonwealth. Went from the entrance for media was southwest corner,
Gate 2.
gate 2. So then I walked north on the west side, came across by CW's, came south, and then was going to cross again behind those luxury suites. Little difficult getting through that north side part because they added those merch booths. Got to the south side, and then it was completely jammed. You couldn't walk through at all.
It's so
they
tight
sent
up
you
there.
back. Like some guys, like,
Really?
go back the other way. You're not getting through here. Go back the other way. Merch got even worse over there. It was hard to get through there. This was a non-reentry event. I think what they could have worked maybe is if they had the entrances not as the actual, like, I don't think they had the entrances as the entrances. Where my entrance went in, it was before the actual gate.
Yeah.
Let people make the gates a little further out. Let people come and go through the outside.
Yeah. Fence it off.
Yes.
Or even what they do for the smoking pit for football
Yeah.
games on the north side behind the scoreboard is they have the fenced off area. If you can make that part of traffic flow or congestion relief, I think would be good. On the west side by the church, I know basically the NHL's HQ and all the
Yep.
TV trucks were there, so that would have been tough in that whole area. They took up
Yeah.
basically a huge chunk of Lot A, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, I got there. I finished up pregame at my place. I literally hopped on the Lime scooter and I made it in like 6 minutes.
You had dinner before you sat in your seat.
did.
That stunned me.
I
didn't
had
think
a
you'd
full
have
dinner.
any time for that.
Me neither. I knew that the puck drop was not going to be at 5:08. Like, there's always that extra 10 minutes. So I made great time on the damn scooter, which was amazing. And then I went in through the media gate. When I got there, the public gate on that corner, the southwest corner, there was a lineup of like 200 people, and they're screening everyone. They're going through the metal detectors, but the media gate was like a breeze to go right through. And then I went into the media workroom in the field house. I had a bite to eat. I got a coffee. I was talking with the Ched boys really quickly, and Yoni Niemanen, who does the Finnish media here at Edmonton. And then I made my way to the seat, into the auxiliary press box, like, 5 minutes in?
Yeah.
It was great. Like,
When you said I had dinner, I was like, what?
I had the full dinner.
I thought it took you that long. And it's like, if that's when you sat there, I'm like, yeah, it took that long to get there. But no, you had the full dinner.
The
with
media meal was going on in the field house. It's a few people I knew were there, some that I didn't recognize, and there was lots of room, and I just sat and I watched the fighter jets go over, and I could hear them. I'm like, I wish I saw that, and I love every flyover that I see. But
Except they were training planes, apparently, because they weren't that
They didn't
loud.
get the Cold Lake ones?
Me and Dustin
the
were sitting there and they
afterburners?
flew over and we're like, oh, that wasn't that loud. And the people
Oh,
today
man.
saying they were like more training jets, so they don't have that full
Damn.
whatever blast that you need for that
It's
feel.
still so cool. Like,
They're
the
so much fun to
afterburners,
watch.
like,
Yes, afterburners. Thank you. That's what I was
The
looking
fans
for.
probably upset. If you went up for a beer, you probably had to grab 2 right away and then just kind of
I
wait.
saw a message in the nasty chat just saying it was almost impossible to get a beer at some point.
Yeah.
Which that's not. I'm not going to blame the Oilers. I'm not going to blame the NHL for that.
No.
that is
a
just
Commonwealth
That's
problem.
a Commonwealth issue. Whenever we've seen
Yeah.
big events come,
Yeah.
we saw those issues. I think with who was it? Luke Combs was in town. I think we heard
Right,
some of the
in the
issues
summer.
when the World Cup qualifiers came in. I rushed to go to the bathroom at one point. Big mistake, rookie mistake on my part. But I needed to go. But I missed the first goal against Mexico with Kyle Aaron because I was going to the washroom. But that's because if you go at halftime,
It's packed.
you're not getting through.
No,
Right?
You
And
would
then
have to
same with
leave
the
like
drinks.
15 minutes before the half ended.
And so that's where it's like Commonwealth. Last night again shows why the city needs Commonwealth.
Oh, it's
why
great,
we need that stadium.
Yes.
Why we don't need a 20,000, 25,000 seat stadium. Not even a 40,000 seat stadium that you kind of push for. We need that stadium.
reluctantly,
right?
let's just add that.
We
I
need
love
that
that stadium.
stadium. But it's also we need to. I know there's
Give it
only a few
some love.
events a year, but when those events come, we need to make it better for everyone. Where
Yeah.
it's going to the washrooms, getting your drinks,
Yeah.
being able to just move around.
Traffic flow.
That needs to somehow get approved, and that's why not having the World Cup really hurts because that's where some of the money would have been pumped into that. I know
Yeah.
there's other renovations that would have been done, like locker rooms and things, but maybe there would have been some cash to.
It was cool seeing the post game in the room with the Elks still name bars there.
Your room?
Hey,
Yeah. It was cool. I love that.
the Oilers traders, Harry Langer, Shane O'Connor, great guys. Dan was actually helping out from the
Dan.
Elks. I had a good chat with him the other day. And Brian Cheese was helping
course,
out on the athletic therapist side. Those guys are so quick that they pulled all the name bars down, the Heritage Classic name bars down. So they had the Elks name bars up. And I was like, that's kind of nice. And I think the Oilers and the league wanted the Heritage Classic name bars up there for the media. But the trainers are so quick that that's one of the first things they take down. And it was cool to see.
It's City's facility, but it's the Elks home.
It
They're
is.
in the Elks locker room.
And they
And
left
show some respect to that team.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's being there, working there last week. You see how man, the NHL, it was amazing just seeing day to day how they set it up and how quick and efficient. And it's the NHL doesn't mess around, man.
No.
We the Elks moved out after garbage. They did their media and all that, and then boom, it was just Oiler City in there, man. It's crazy, and Flames. Sorry, and it's neat to see how they do it.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's amazing. And then you see the final product, and then you see it on TV, and you're like, holy smokes, man! Like it's absolutely crazy how quick they set up.
They're very efficient. They've done a bunch of them. Talking to the NHL crew, they have 2 outdoor game setups or 2 mobile setups, and they had to have one in Australia for those games in the preseason, and then the other one came here, and then the one that's in Australia is going straight to Seattle for the Winter Classic, and the one that was here goes to New York for the games that are the Stadium Series games that were at MetLife, and they have those.
There's some more outdoor
Zambonis.
games at MetLife this year.
There's 2. 2 games. They're doing 4 outdoor games this season. So, but like you said,
think New
it's
York
very
needs more.
efficient. The schedule, but these things are huge money makers.
Yeah.
I know.
They're
And
huge money makers.
some of them they shouldn't be.
And I'll be honest, like, man, since I'm old enough to remember 2003, the first one, I didn't go. But since 2003, I don't think I've sat and watched a full outdoor game.
I watched the first few.
And this one intrigued me because it was in Edmonton, it's the older and all that. But I'll probably go back to be like, I'll check out the highlights. Like, it just doesn't really grab my like
Because there's too many of them.
exactly.
I like the first few when it was just the Winter Classic and we did one a year again.
Yeah.
It was great because if you missed it, you had to wait a calendar year to see it again. Now, like you mentioned, there's 3 more this year. If you missed the Heritage Classic to start this season, okay, yeah, there's 3 more outdoor games I could watch this season. Like there's times to get to it. And that's where my issues with the NHL is they've overdone it where the mystique for television is gone away. When it's in your town, it's going to be huge. But the mystique of watching it on television is gone. And also, like, if you are going to do this many then, and I know it's the moneymaker, but make one a TV event then, which is like they did with Lake Tahoe. Find those unique places where you're not going to be able to put up a lot of fans. You're not going to be able to bring a lot of them. But you can have a game where you have a backdrop that is just beautiful that will go on Twitter, will go on Instagram. All the U.S. networks are going to show it because look how cool this looks. You're the only league that can do this. You know, I guess baseball did it with the Field of Dreams.
That one was really cool.
Yeah.
But now that's going to become a regular thing, apparently, and that's going to kill the mystique of it,
Yeah,
too.
you need to go different places then for it.
Yeah.
But football, we already play like outdoors, and I don't know what they could really do.
That's
basketball, you can't take it outside.
No.
Like that's just too, that's going to be really difficult for a lot of reasons. Hockey has this ability where they can go to unique places. So try to do that.
It's kind of like, I don't know if you're a big UFC guy back in the day, like 20 years ago. Like, there was always one big pay-per-view a month, and you got excited for it. Now there's one every weekend. Or like it's sometimes not even a pay-per-view. It's free. Yeah, and and there's so many so many events, so many fighters that you can't even keep track of it anymore. So it's probably not the best comparison, but I used to be big into UFC, and now I just can't keep up.
Right, though.
So.
When I first started at 1260, there was a fight between all of our shows in booking the MMA guests, and like Showdown Joe was the big guy, and it was a hunt. Like you had
Jesse Holland.
Well, that was a little bit later, but yes, I forgot about Jesse Holland.
Yeah,
but it was like everyone's trying to get because every show wanted someone.
Yeah,
because everyone wanted to talk MMA,
fight,
everyone wanted to talk about UFC, and then after a few years, it all died because there was a fight every weekend, and it just more is not always better.
No,
and that's the thing with the Heritage Classic and the outdoor games is. When it's in your town, it's awesome. When you can go, awesome. But to watch it on TV, no, I don't care about the next 3 this year. I probably won't watch them.
I don't blame you. It's a regional event.
Yeah.
It is. We got a text that came in 780-218-9999. If you're there last night or watched it on TV, let us know your thoughts. No name on this one. Just says, I wonder if it's a stadium issue because the Heritage Classic in Winnipeg was brutal in the concourse and concession as well. That one definitely was.
Was it?
My first time ever at IG Field in 2016. I think they did a great job, honestly. But those concourses, for a 33,500 seat stadium were tight.
Were they?
I thought they were very narrow. That's the one thing at IG Field. Those concourses.
But wouldn't that
were
be
tight.
the norm though? Like the Bombers sell out, like it'd be the same issue.
I would think so.
Right?
I'd have to think so.
I wonder though if at Bombers, I haven't seen a Bombers game at IG Field. I wonder if people would sit in their seats more during halftime, right? And maybe that helps ease congestion on the concourse. But during the intermissions, I tried to walk around. I think I had to go do an interview with like Marty McSorley during the first intermission at the Heritage in Winnipeg. And I had to get from the press level, which they had a nice press box. And then I had to go to the north end zone where he was sitting with he was hosting a party. and that's where our cameras were set up. And it took me forever, and you're fighting through traffic. It was tight, and they have 2 levels of concourse at
do
IG
they?
Field, from what I remember. Yeah.
No, like, yeah, the concourse, it comes down to whatever event you're going to have. I would assume that it's going to be the same. If there was issues at the Heritage Classic, the same amount of people are there. It's going to be the same type of congestion then.
Yeah. The one in Vancouver, I will say, that one,
BC?
yeah, BC Place, that one was weird. That was my first Heritage game. There was bad vibes on the Canucks side because that was the Roberto Luongo stuff. I remember Corey Schneider and Alain Vigneault getting booed when they announced Schneider was the starter and Vigneault as the coach. And then it just, even though that stadium is beautiful now, it was kind of antiseptic too. And like the concourses were empty. And I remember my buddy Tony and I, we were just, if we needed a beer, it was just like boom, boom. Because there was nobody.
Well,
it was just kind of like, we got a game.
If there's
but
one
whatever.
thing that you don't claim Vancouver to be, is the greatest sports town.
I think
Like
that's
I
fair.
think that like any Vancouver fans, I'm sorry, but I don't think that's ever a thing you really have.
That's
because
true. When they're hot,
it's
everybody's
great.
involved.
Yeah, but it's not something like
It's not
I don't know. There is something about Edmonton.
like if Vancouver was, let's say, goes through a decade of darkness, they're
Yeah.
not selling out every game
No.
like they did here,
No,
right? Question for you: you guys were both at Elks games this year, and there's 2 games where it was a bigger crowd, closer to 30,000 or just over. How was the concourse
fine.
for those? It was fine. So 30 seems like 30.
If you're 30 to 35, you're good.
Okay,
You're good there. There's a lot of room.
so you weren't like
There's
obviously there's still lines and stuff
Yeah.
like that, but it's not as bad as 55,000.
No, you could get around. There's still people to maneuver around, but it was like that is a nice number at Commonwealth. It's when you're getting like the Canada soccer games yesterday.
high 40s.
Once you're into
and up.
that range, I remember when the Elks used to pull those 40,000, and you knew the concourse was going to be busy.
Yeah.
You knew it was going to be a little tighter. You know, when I was younger, walking with my dad, make sure holding in his hand, otherwise, easily get lost or something. So,
That was,
I'll say this about Elks games too: is you get into routines at Elks games, and everybody has their spots. Like I know friends I go meet up with at the Jackie Parker room at halftime.
people go to their spots.
There's spots, right? And they conglomerate there, and you have the CW people that don't sit in their seats, and you got like 1,000
Tube
people
socks.
on the rail. Tube socks,
He pays for season seats
And then
nice
goes-
seats.
yeah.
Doesn't sit in them.
Yeah.
He goes stands at the north spot. That's where I go see tube socks.
wow.
So yeah, and then the other thing too, I think some of those locations were either like exclusive or they're part of suites, or the NHL had them blocked off, so you didn't have those spots, the normal haunts that you would have at an Elks game, even at a busy one. So I thought that was interesting, and you kind of know that too, especially with concerts and all that and other events. You don't get the same little nooks and crannies of the stadium that you can go to during Elks games, but. There's also strategy when it's a busy game at Commonwealth or event at Commonwealth. So I ran to the press box during Nickelback's set because everybody was like back in their seats. I think people left late in the second period to go get a beer, go to the bathroom because they wanted to see Nickelback. Nickelback was late, by the way, their own doing, but it actually worked
technical
out.
issues.
They needed a monitor. That was it. They were
Wow.
missing a monitor. They were waiting for a monitor.
Hey man, it's Nickelback.
But it actually worked out, I thought, great when they were finishing up Rockstar and the teams were walking on the ice. I was like, that's cool. I pointed at you. I'm like, that's cool. Like, it worked out really nice. But yeah, I remember I'm going up to the press box and we have to just go up the stairs by Section D. And people are just jamming out. Everybody's singing the songs, young people, old people. And I'm just like, this is great. This is hilarious. And I get it. And then at football games, like you go up before halftime during a TV timeout, go to the bathroom, get your beer, come back. Or you find your spot that you go to at halftime. There's those little tricks.
Yeah, but that's what I hate about I don't want to miss part of the game.
I
right?
know,
and I
I know.
did that with the Canada soccer, and I missed a goal, a pretty big
That's
goal.
your own
And it
fault.
was like, well, I know, but it's like you're trying to beat the rush, and it's a shame that you kind of have to plan that out.
yeah, I'm always okay with if you miss a couple minutes of, let's say, the second period or the second half.
Yeah.
Like if you're getting a beer, going to the bathroom and all that. But as long as you're set to go for that second half, like I'm good. So, and I get it with soccer.
Soccer's hard
It's hard, right?
because you don't have the pause during the game.
No, it's just
You have
nonstop,
halftime.
45 or 46, 47 minutes, and anything could happen at any time. Like you said, you missed 2 goals,
Just the one.
just the one.
Although-
but it was a big goal. Like you probably
So there was 3 goals. I saw 2 of the 3 that time. The 2 games I went with Luke. Both games, him and I never celebrated a goal together.
Oh, wow.
He was gone for the first one, getting beers. Second one, I was going to the washroom. The third one, I think he was getting beers again and going to the washroom. And him and I never got to celebrate a Canada soccer goal at Commonwealth together.
That first game that we all went to
Was great.
It was such a good time.
And that's what it's made me sad yesterday about the Heritage Classic is it was over. It's like, okay, well, Grey Cup, we're trying to figure out when Edmonton could get it again.
Yeah.
It's Vancouver, Winnipeg. Ottawa, Toronto need it.
Yeah.
Montreal's not going to get it.
Again, no stadium.
So Edmonton is maybe 5 years away from getting it, unless they maybe get it sooner.
That's a good point.
2018
Canada
was
soccer
great.
ain't coming here anytime
No.
soon.
Why? Because of
One, there's no qualifying,
Yeah.
so we don't have to qualify.
yeah.
And I use we because it's our country.
That's fine. I'll allow it.
Two, the big stuff like Copa America qualifying / Nations League is coming up in Toronto right away here. After that, they're Copa America next year. You'd have exhibition games, so there's nothing really big coming.
Gotcha.
3, I don't think Edmonton would accept it. I think
Oh, really?
Edmonton has done a great job of supporting Canada soccer over the years, and this goes
I
back
know.
to the 90s.
Sure.
Where, Canada, Brazil, men's friendly here in 94, I think it was. The 02 under 19 women's, the 15 women's World Cup, the Canadian soccer qualifying match, which set the bar for that really was a changing point of the qualifying for them. The World Cup, then no support from Canada soccer really in the end to get it here. Like it was Vancouver came in late. There was no real, I don't think, support from Canada Soccer tried to be like, no, Edmonton deserves to be one of the. There were supposed to be 3 Canadian cities hosting.
Yeah, that's true.
And there was only 2 bidding in the end. It was Toronto and Edmonton. And somehow Edmonton doesn't get it because Vancouver comes in late and steals it. And I don't think, if you're Edmonton now, why would you do anything for Canada Soccer? Why would you say they come and say, we want to use your big facility? Why would you be like, yeah, no, we want to help you, when the alternative right now is the biggest games for this country or this city could have had, you turned your back on us.
Yeah.
Why would you support that?
We were in Toronto for the Elks game, and I'll say this: BMO Field is a good facility.
Yeah.
It's great for soccer. I think it's
natural
great
grass
for
for
the
the
CFL.
players.
It's natural grass. The dressing rooms are awesome. Facilities are great. It's in a great location.
Yeah.
It was my first time there, and it's awesome.
It looks super nice. It looks like
You've
they did a
never
good-
been?
I've never
Maddie?
been. I've been to Skydome a bunch of times. And
No, like for soccer, like I was just kind of like, it's just a perfect stadium. Absolutely perfect. Yeah.
Good.
But it's not big enough.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
And they still would have hosted it. Like if Edmonton got games, they still could have hosted. But it was in the end, Edmonton went out, Vancouver came in, and Kansas City came in.
Yeah.
And Edmonton was there for Canada Soccer for all these years.
Now, in regard to Edmonton and Canada Soccer and whatever, call it strife, there may be, or reasons to say no to Canada Soccer from an Edmonton perspective. What about the soccer fan in Edmonton and Northern Alberta that wants to see the national team? Because there's this turmoil between 2 entities potentially. You're putting all these people out, 50,000 potentially, because of a battle within that. And to me, that shouldn't happen. It does happen, unfortunately, in the world of sports. But I think that would be terrible. But yeah.
Is it that Edmonton's a big soccer city? I don't
Big
know.
event city.
It's a big event because I think if Canada came to play here, I think you get 50,000+. I think sure there's a lot of soccer fans, but I think a lot of people go because it's like, holy
It's the
crap,
event.
it's a World Cup team playing. Say they were playing Brazil, for example. People would go just because of the name.
Well, they did in 94.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So are we a soccer city or are
We're
we
big
just
event.
an event? Yeah.
Big event. And there's a good soccer community here.
Oh, 100% there is.
The issues of FC Edmonton and stuff are stadium, and there's other issues that come from that, and there's turmoil. FC Edmonton kind of screwed up a lot of things. So there's a soccer community, but mostly it's a big event.
Yeah.
And that's what we saw in November of 21. That's what we saw yesterday. large, like people rally behind big events in this city.
Yeah.
But no, like as much as it pains me, I don't think Edmonton should host again because I don't want to. The CSA doesn't deserve our support.
Well, CSA's
and
a
FIFA
poorly
doesn't
run
deserve our
organization.
support right now, and it pains me because like the best player is Alphonso Davies. This is his home. He should be able to play a World Cup game in Edmonton.
Yes,
and the fact that that's not happening. And I just want to point this out because these are big qualifiers. November 21st, Canada, Jamaica. It's a two-legged affair. If Canada gets through this, they're immediately going to Copa America next year, which is a big deal. Copa America is basically the Euros, but of South America, and now North America is coming in. I'm just looking at BMO right now. I don't know if they've opened up Upper Deck. I don't think they have because there's a bunch of lower bowl tickets still available. Like Toronto, they might be a great facility. They might have the natural grass. I'll still say this: Toronto doesn't support them enough. And they don't support them well enough. And if those games are in Edmonton, we'd have the push, and we'd have at least a lower bowl full.
Hey,
piss off, Toronto.
It's home and away.
Yeah, 1-on-1. The World Cup qualifying, they didn't even sell out some of their matches.
Yeah,
it comes here to Edmonton. We still got 40,000 in a blizzard. And we sold over 50,000 for that game. But no, we can't have the World Cup here. I'm just getting angry now.
You're getting frustrated. People are texting about your takes on this. Jeez. I like this. Maddie's getting fired up on this Monday after a long, busy weekend.
Victor Mentaglia, or whatever the hell he is, the former Canada president, is now in charge of CONCACAF. He's completely sketch.
Yeah.
He's full FIFA.
You can just see it. You're like, I don't get good vibes from this guy. You don't have to chime in on this because it affects the football team, but that football field, pitch, whatever, at Commonwealth, I think it's ready for replacement because
it was 15.
Yeah,
it was installed for 15,
and we're getting to 10 years. And I know there was a couple years where it really wasn't used, but those things get replaced way quicker than 10 years, and that's a city slash.
But that's also like, again, this goes to why we really screwed up 26, and it's not just FIFA and Canada Soccer. It was also our government at the time that screwed that up. There's a lot of flaws that caused that, but part of it would have been we would have seen natural grass placed inside Commonwealth Stadium, and then I'm assuming after the natural grass, they would have put another turf in for the Elks afterwards, which would then have been our new artificial. And that would have all come. So now it's like, okay, well, how do we replace this turf? Which isn't the football turf. It's a soccer turf.
That's right.
And that's why we saw the issue in the 18 Grey Cup, where it was all slippery. It wasn't designed for football in the cold weather.
Mm-hmm. And FIFA wanted it replaced because they initially put in the turf, I think, 2010. Yes. FIFA wanted it replaced because the lines, there was ghost lines when they did the TV test. So they're like, let's just put a new turf in there. And they did the soccer, more specific turf. And then, it's just been there for the last
I don't think it's supposed to last 10 years. I think it's 7 to 8 or so it's supposed to be or something.
I read that. It's like they can last up to 10 years. But like, you walk on there and like I was doing those sideline games last year and I was like, oh, this turf needs to be replaced. So you don't have to say anything.
Maddie, all it means is we have to travel for the World Cup now.
Oh, there you go.
I'm going. Straight up. I'll be in Vancouver for all the Canada games. I'm going to try to, if Italy qualifies, I'm going to try to go see Italy. If Ukraine tries to qualify, I'm going to try to go see. Like, I will fly around as much as I can.
It's so close, and we're not going to be this close for...
Oh, we're going to be a lot older when if it ever comes again.
That's what I mean. So, like, take advantage. Go to the U.S.
After that, it's going to go to South America / Europe.
Yeah.
And then after that, it'll probably go to Saudi Arabia. And that's already 2034. So now we're looking at 2038, wherever it goes after that. Probably not North America. So soon as would be in the 2040s, which doesn't seem like a real year, but 2040s ain't that far, actually.
Wow.
We wanted to go to Russia in 2018, was it? But for Chile, and they were so close to qualify, but they didn't. So we were kind of like bummed because we were going to take like a family trip. Cousins.
All the way to Russia?
Yeah, just for the World Cup, so that would have been cool.
Truthfully, I will look closely where Copa America cities are and where Canada's playing next summer. And if Canada's in a good spot to get to, I'll want to go see Copa America.
I'm a terrible South American, but where's the Copa America next?
U.S.
Oh, it's in the U.S.
That's why they've expanded, and then so how Copa America is? It's all 10 South American teams go in, and they usually invite 2 countries, and it's 12 teams split into 2 groups of 6. Is it?
Or was it
3 groups of 4?
3 groups of 4.
So then, one time in 2015, they did the 100-year anniversary.
Yes.
They did that in the U.S. They added 16 teams. So now they're doing back to 16. But the reason South America picked the U.S. is it's a better TV market. So they're going to get that U.S. money that's going to come in from eyeballs. So South America gets more money from all of this. They're going to go to 16 teams. So it's all going to be played in the U.S.
Wow.
And that's why they're adding the 6 North American CONCACAF teams. Canada should qualify.
Should, yeah.
If we don't do it against Jamaica, there's one more qualifier we have for it. But they need this. Like for 2026 World Cup with no qualifying, they need this to get prepared for 2026.
Yeah. Especially, like, because regardless of what group they land in, they're going to play some quality teams. And I think it'd be great for Canada to get that experience against top teams, because unfortunately, playing in CONCACAF, unless you're playing U.S. or Mexico,
it's not worth it.
The competition is not always the best, and you're not really preparing for a World Cup. So I don't like that there's more teams, but it is what it is. But yeah, it'll be great to see Canada there.
In the end, we just need more events at Commonwealth. That's the story. We do have the Big Sky event coming in December, by the way, which I will have to go see.
There's a couple of people that...
You should see that setup, man. Now that's impressive.
Them setting it up and all. Well, it's going to be higher this year.
Yeah.
Wow.
We have people in and saying it's going to go
Even
up.
them taking it down is like, I would stand, like, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not complaining about my job being hard, because, man, these guys, holy smokes.
They're going to hang off the upper deck.
Yeah, I heard.
That's crazy.
Like, that is an amazing. You ever want to roll by the office and just look for 10 minutes?
Yeah.
It's truly amazing, guys.
Me, Quinn, Milne, and what's his name again? I forgot, from Canada Snowboard. We said we'd do a hangout at the top of that.
That's cool, man. There's some people texting in recommendations on how to beat Commonwealth traffic in the concourse. The doc says the key to beating the long beer lineups at games is to just do edibles instead.
That is, honestly, to defeat like high prices at Rogers or that, if that's what you're into, it honestly is one of the best ways to do it.
Pat in the country says, I'm with Maddie 100%. Screw them. Boys, the bike lanes are worth it. Screw Commonwealth. The bike lanes are not worth it. Trust me. One
of the keys I found is state of the wall. The fast-moving Commonwealth thing for the congestion, if you're closer to the wall, that seems to move quicker. So get as close to that wall as you can, and that's the fast lane. I ran by your brother, and I didn't want to stop. We didn't stop. We just quickly like, hey, because we're both in the fast lanes, and we didn't want to get out of the fast lane and then be stuck. So I also saw Frank Saravalli in the line.
Hey, Frank was there yesterday?
Yeah.
Jeez,
I think he was sitting in the seats.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay, didn't know Frank was there. Okay, one more text. No name on it. Matt raises some serious issues with ASA, CSA, corrupt just like FIFA. Great footy talk. Tom looks like he's falling asleep. I am tired.
What?
No, I'm into this
I haven't noticed
conversation.
that you were tired at all.
I'm tired, but like
You don't look
it was
that
just
way
a
to me.
long week. Like hosting, they always said NHL events
They said that about Grey Cup too.
and Grey Cup. Like when you're the host or you're working in your host city or your hometown, there's a lot going on. You've got a million people wanting stuff, needing stuff, wanting to hang out. I didn't say no to anything really this last week.
Shocking.
Yeah, so it was too convenient. We live right by. Your restraint is much better than mine.
No one asked. I don't know one of these people, so
But
they
like-
didn't ask me anything.
Like last night, we had a couple of beverages and a bite to eat after the game. That was it after the post game show. But like the culmination. So yes, I'm a little bit tired, but I feel great. Like this is a fun chat.
They also say like Grey Cup. What you don't want is it to be in your city or your team in it.
Yes,
Because then you have to work and stuff. And I guess the same with
And as
Heritage
an
Classic.
Italian Polish guy, you should be full into the footy talk.
Oh, I'm the worst. I'm the worst with that. But like,
Poland has one of the, well, I don't know if you consider him one of the best strikers right now, but
Lewandowski's still
yeah.
really good.
And
my mom
Italian.
talks about him. I'm like, oh, cool, mom.
He's fantastic.
Yeah,
I don't want to get into soccer too much right now.
No. There's too much going on.
I like
Club-wise.
dumping on the CSA because they deserve.
Oh,
it.
I have no problem doing that.
Yeah.
And I love talking Canada soccer. And I actually can't wait till the end of November for those big matches. I want to see Canada at the Copa America because this is how
That'd
the
be
next
awesome.
summer goes. Morning, afternoon is Euros. Your afternoons, evenings is Copa America. It is just...
It's going to be great. Yeah.
And to go on the like, here's the thing for the Canada soccer that we didn't get at the World Cup. We didn't get the patio beers.
yes.
Sitting on a patio in the sun, drinking beers, watching your country play.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
That's going to be the thing for next summer. Like for those that are just kind of casual fans, they just want to support the team in the
What
big
patio?
events. Anyone that has a good sun.
Like here in town.
Yeah.
You know which place has like a monster patio that would get a lot of sun? Is Furniture Warehouse.
I've never been.
Local is always great. Local Jasper Ave.
Local won't be bad.
That's always a good one.
It's honestly, as long as you're getting a drink you could have a TV that you can watch,
Yeah.
and you're in the sun.
Pint.
That's
a good one.
I'm assuming the roof of Ice House.
That's
Might not be bad.
That's a good one.
a good one.
I know Kelly's has plans to bring TVs outside.
Yes.
If they do that, Kelly's would be a good patio
Yep.
to sit on.
As long as it's hot. Like I don't need the sun hitting the patio.
Just need to
but-
be warm and comfortable.
But that honestly, for those casual Canada fans, couldn't recommend it enough. Watching your country play in a massive soccer tournament while you're just doing patio beers in the afternoon.
Would they do
it's
a
amazing.
watch party
Who?
like here in the city?
The Voyagers, the Canadian supporters group, they generally do watch parties across the country. So they would do
Sweet.
something. Maybe we just do an EST watch party.
I like that. I think that we have some great local
Just we all go to
partners
one
here.
place, come join us
Yeah.
at one place, and we're all just going to cheer
We
for
had
Canada.
such a great time at the first game against Belgium.
Oh, we were at the cabin. That's a great spot.
That was
They
fun.
have not a bad patio.
Like we had so much fun that day.
yes.
Like we started early.
Oh, yeah, and
I
then
think
me and your
you
nephew went to, we went downtown.
Yeah,
And
but we walked
we
in
stayed
the
a long
morning.
time. Yes.
Me and you walked over.
Yeah.
And we had a drink. Like
it was an
9 a.m.
all-day thing.
Yeah,
Because
but
that game was
but
at
that's
noon.
the World Cup. That's
That
that's
is.
what it's all about.
And then there was an Oiler
man.
game that night.
Yeah,
So,
well,
like, we
yeah.
had the whole
Yeah.
day to
Let's forget
drink and
about
all
that
that.
Oiler game though.
Did they lose? Oh,
Yeah,
yes, they
yeah.
did. Yeah, I forgot.
BP's patios too, by the way. If we were to do an EST one, right?
Oh, there's some good ones
They have
that
some
would be
good
for
ones.
that.
Yeah.
No question about
It's
it.
a lot of good patios.
But that's
lot
the
of
thing. Like,
options.
you
Like
just
if you
want
go,
to go
if you
sit.
if you leave downtown too, there's just like South Common has some great patios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is true.
So
We got
I can't
text-
wait for next summer.
I
For
like
that.
how we're planning the patios for
Hernan, you have no idea what we've planned with ES. We're basically never going to be in this building next year because we're going to F1 events and the Grey Cup, and we'll be at now at like patios, and we're going to go to the Lakers championship title celebration. We're going to be all over the place. I don't know why we're leasing this place.
Well, you need a place to stay between shows.
Yeah.
On the couch. Text comes in 780-218-9999. Says, thank you, Matt, for that take. You are right about telling Soccer Canada to F off for what this city did for Soccer Canada for over 30 years. No name on that text.
I will still also, I'll never forgive Canada Soccer because outside, do you remember the old little video advertising board that at Commonwealth that was on the corner of
Yeah.
118th and
Yeah.
whatever that is?
111.
Is it 111th?
Yeah.
It used to have a sign that said "Home of Canada Soccer" because through the '90s we were the home. And
Yeah.
then
The office
they
is
build
there.
BMO and they go to Toronto and they just forgot about us completely. And it's just we were the home. We supported
Yeah.
them really well. This is how good Edmonton supports Canada Soccer. 06 playoff run, Oilers Ducks conference final game. I think in Anaheim. There was some Canada game happening against I don't even know who, and they got 15,000 people at Commonwealth.
For an what? Oilers
When the
were in
Oilers
Cup
were
final.
taking on the Ducks in the conference final
Wow.
that 06 playoff run, same time that was happening, there was a soccer game being played at Commonwealth Stadium. Very poor planning. 15,000 people still showed up for that.
Wow.
Wow.
When Edmonton was starving for a deep playoff run, and it was happening.
And it got one.
And CSA just hates Edmonton, so screw you, CSA. I just
Nailed it.
I want to keep going. I just want to keep
Go
going.
for
I
it.
got to. No. I gotta.
So
We gotta-
long and short of it is Commonwealth was great. There's
Yes.
a couple of things. It was exposed in terms of congestion. Maybe it's NHL. Maybe the building needs a little bit of love. But the city, the building, the team, everything looked great last night.
It
Great
did.
event.
To sum it up,
It
yeah.
really did.
And the win was
The
awesome
win
too.
puts a nice cherry
Good
on
for
top.
them, yeah.
The media meal was great. I had plenty of time
was
to eat
it?
it.
Yeah,
It was like tacos.
There was
and
tacos?
pork chops, and
Tacos and pork chop. That's kinda weird.
Some salad and soup. It was really good. The day before they had soups and sandwiches, and it was nice. It was good.
Italian sandwiches?
No, just like beef, ham and cheese, some egg and tuna.
Well, I saw
assortment.
YouTube Trev tried the famous Italian sandwiches and
The panino.
the panino, and I was told at work I had to heat mine up, so I got one last week.
Yeah.
I put it in the microwave.
How long?
I put it like 40 seconds.
And
It was delicious.
oh man, you get the good fresh bread.
Oh, it's so great.
Yeah.
yeah.
I've never. I don't know. I don't feel like it should eat it.
I don't heat
I
it
feel
up.
like it needs to be.
My
It's a
brother-
cold
It's the first time
sandwich.
I've ever tried it that
Eric
way.
does it that way.
And
Yeah.
I didn't mind it, but yeah, there's something about eating it just the way it.
Salami, I find, well, growing up where there's always salami at home, like you put it in you cook it up. Some people like it when it's cooked up, but it changes the texture, it changes the
Oh, for sure it
taste.
does, yeah.
I just like straight up salami, so I don't heat it up. I don't. You get the good bread, nice and fresh, and just smoosh it, and you get the good Italian
Hot or
sandwich.
mild?
I usually go mild, but now I like the hot.
Yeah.
Both of my brothers start sweating when they get anything spicy. So
That's not spicy.
But it's not
But
even
it's
spicy.
not hot.
No.
like I always have, and I'm expecting a good kick. And
yeah,
it's
I
never
want a
hot.
kick, right? Like I want a little
It's
kick.
nothing.
But I remember
It tastes the same to me.
my Nona would take us for paninis, and we'd go to the original Italian center shop on 95th Street, or as my grandma and grandpa called it, Spinelli's.
That's what everyone calls it.
Spinelli's.
Yeah, they
You
just
know
call it
who the
Spinelli's.
Italians are in the city is if
Yeah.
they call it Spinelli's,
Yeah.
they're OG Italian.
Hey, we go to Spinelli? Of course.
Back in the day, those sandwiches were always available, but you had to order and they'd make it fresh. Like back in the day.
I feel like they're bigger
Cutting the
nowadays.
meat back there.
Yeah, man. It was, and for some reason, I think they were even bigger. Like
No, I thought
someone
they were
who's-
big. I thought they were smaller than what they are now.
If someone's
When
like,
That's still pretty big.
When I brought them in a couple weeks ago, I felt like these are huge.
no, but it was different. I even think the bread was a little bit different back then. It's still Italian bread, like
course.
right there, of course, but it was just, I don't know, it was just different. If anyone on the chat remembers Spinelli's, where you used to get those sandwiches made fresh, that's the way they used to do it old school, was awesome. There is a place in Regina, I'll say it's called Italian Star Deli, that makes a very similar one.
Oh.
Similar meats and all that. It's got feta cheese, but you know what I love about it? They put banana peppers, so you get a real kick out of it. And I think it's right up there with the Italian
actually
center
sounds
sandwich.
pretty good.
Here. It's really good.
I like banana
Like
pepper.
when we arrive in Regina, every player, coach, staff member that's with the visiting team goes there to pick them up, and they pick them up to take home the next day too.
How many times do your guys just go to the Italian spot? Because that's just right there.
In
that-
Regina.
No, in Edmonton. From Commonwealth. Like, how
we
often
go
are you
a
guys
lot.
going
like
there?
the
Like,
staff there goes, like you always see at least 2-3 staff members a week come back with a sandwich, and yeah, and
'Cause
then we're
it's
all
right
like-
there.
and then everybody points, oh, good choice, you know.
and it's, especially in like summer, it's a very nice walk.
I would
Get
walk
there
with,
quick and back.
I'd be like Brian Swain, my boy there at the Elks. I'd be like, you want to go to the Italian Center? We'd go there, just
right
walk in
there.
the summer.
Yeah.
Pick up Orangina and
Oh, yeah. Get a
Orangina.
Canoto, man. Those are the best. It's Italian pop. It's a little bit more bitter.
I met
but
up with JMO, I think early last season. We went for a coffee there. It's great. You
Great coffee
just
bar.
Sit there.
They've apparently, I haven't been there to the OG one on 95th, but they've expanded the bakery a little bit.
And I
Have
love
they?
it because it's all
Yeah.
old school.
Yeah.
like
They-
Italians. They're
Yeah.
just and I love the language, and it's just like
the
it's
slacks
awesome.
pulled up to their belly buttons.
I've never watched a soccer game there, which I need to go do.
I went last for the World Cup. We went to pick up some lunch there, and
Well, there's no World Cup games for Italy there.
No.
So there was no World Cup.
Morocco was playing someone. Morocco had the good run, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They took out
and
Canada.
there's just tons of people. It was awesome though, but it's small, so you
Not that
You
one.
know,
Well,
lost
I did
space.
like that World Cup. As an Italian, hated that World Cup. As a Canadian,
As a Chilean,
Canadian,
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like that World Cup. It was great seeing us there, but it wasn't exactly the best. Tommy's wearing the Edmonton Sports Talk
Yeah.
hoodie, by the way. You can purchase it right now, pre-orders at the Edmonton Sports Talk shop. Just head to edmontonsportstalk.com. At the very top, it says EST shop. Click there. We got shirts, hoodie, sweatshirt, mug, toque, hat. I think I got it all. Pre-orders till about November 15th, and then everything that gets ordered, we'll have it to you or shipped out as of December 15th, if not sooner. So we'll all get there before Christmas. That is thanks to our official merch partner, the Hive Product Marketing. Products that bring the buzz, the hiveproductmarketing.com. So please head to EST shop and purchase some of our merchandise, our wonderful merchandise.
I have to put in a big order. The whole family wants a bunch of stuff. So
Christmas present.
yeah, I gave them the 15% friends and family thing, and they're like, okay.
So my family's always like, are we all getting Elks gear for Christmas? I'm like, probably.
Yeah, probably. Sorry, but that Elks gear. There's some
there's
some
some-
stuff I saw. I was walking by the store the other day,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, and it was Gene and I. I'm like, Gene, look at that hat. It was the yellow one that I texted
yeah.
you about. And he's like, that's really nice. I'm like, man, they've got some good gear now. So Lance texts in. He won a trip.
Yes.
Me and my wife were in our seats early, sitting there having a hot dog, and there was 2 ice girls just standing there. So I waved at them, and they came up and chatted and asked if I would like to do a contest, and that's why you be friendly to everyone. And LTE responded to him, and Lance said, Tom, did you see I won a trip? Ask Hernan how he feels about the Oilers season. I miss his rants on the post-game show. So, Lance, thank you for the text. I miss your rants, too.
Yeah, it's Listen, I obviously happy they won yesterday.
Yeah.
I just wanted the Oiler fans there, and it was such a great event. Like it would have been, it just would have been terrible if they weren't able to pull off the win. But
Didn't win the first one.
no, that's a good point. 4-3, right?
Yeah.
I was looking that up yesterday. I couldn't remember if they won or lost that one. But I mean, with the Oilers, I mean, I don't think any of us in this city expected this slow of a start. I think I'm not breaking any news here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see if this can kind of spring them into a couple wins. They get 3 days off here. Not off, but they don't play till Thursday. So, yeah, So I was watching the telecast yesterday, and they had Paul Coffey on just before, and they're like, it was Elliot Friedman and David Allen. They go to Paul Coffey. Hey, Paul, so I mean, what can we fix with these Oilers? And he goes, where do I start? I was like, whoa, okay, you're being super honest. But according to him, he addressed the team. Ken Holland addressed the team.
Yeah.
And you saw him; they came out flying last night. Evander King was good. Connor McDavid looked good. I was a little worried that maybe he was being rushed, but he looked really good out there. So hopefully the boys can get it together here and get a win streak and get back to over 500. But I was telling Tom when I arrived here, like, I don't know if you guys felt the same way, but I felt the Flames looked very, very, very sloppy and bad.
I agree. Like, how much of it was the Oilers playing a much better game overall? Attention to detail,
Yes.
execution, which they had. And then you look at the Flames and you're like, oh. Like, where were Kadri outside and Huberdeau? Kadri, the only time I noticed him, I know he got the goal where he redirected it in, but all I saw was him trying to go after Evander Kane.
Yeah.
And that was it. And it didn't work.
It's interesting to see that team because it looks like their coach is every game he's shuffling the lines. And then I was reading a few pieces from Eric Francis and stuff this morning, and where like it's similar to what you're hearing here with this team.
It was,
before
yeah.
the game. So it's interesting because if you have to pick one of the two teams to get out of this, it's probably the Oilers just because of the higher end skill that they have, right? But it's interesting to see how. And I heard Rashog on with the boys too, and he brought it up as well, and he said like they just looked really off, and it's been all season like that, right?
Even going through their lineup yesterday on the pregame show, I'm like, oh boy, like that does not intimidate anybody.
So is the Flames, like last year we all thought, it's got to be Sutter, there's players there. Is this proving that the players aren't there, or are they still just trying to learn Huska's system and what he's trying to implement a new coach? Like
That was a lot of the talk
Yeah.
going in, talking with the Calgary media and listening to the Flames availabilities, is they were adapting to system tweaks and this and that. And
because it can't be easy going from Daryl Sutter to like a newer coach.
but you would think they'd have sorry, Nat, so I'll just say this. You would think that they would have a renewed sense of energy and buy in. And I know that the lineup isn't as good or as strong as maybe as what it was last year or 2 years ago, especially. But man, like, it is just not there for the Flames.
But it's early on, right? And what did you make of Zadoro's comments? Like saying there's one that caught my attention where he was like, Daryl Sutter was too hard. No, this guy's too nice. Do you know what I mean? Like, what do we want? And I find like those comments this early in the season like very troubling for a team.
What were they saying about Zadorov? He's like too honest. If you want to add another two in there.
Yeah. Because then he tried to walk it back.
Yeah.
And then after the game before the Heritage one, when they lost to, I think, the Rangers or St. Louis.
They lost to St. Louis 3-0.
And then he tried to get the fans on his side by saying, we're, he kind of used some foul language there and all that. But it's just, it's interesting with the two Alberta teams early on in the season, right?
Oh,
like
totally.
It's what is going on here. And then he looked just a little bit further west, and Vancouver is just rolling right now.
Right? Rick Tocchet, who knew? Greg from Lacombe texts in, says, let's talk about the game a bit. The Oilers were not as great as the score made them look. Their penalties were stupid and unnecessary. Calgary is garbage for not capitalizing on those penalties. A bad team beat an awful team. That's it. Greg from Lacombe with some harsh criticism.
I guess we'll find out the Oilers. They moved from 31st in the league standings to 30th last night with the win.
Sweet.
Like they're still right near the bottom It comes down to like how did they build off of this? The last time they had that big win against Nashville, you figured, okay, that was the game they needed. They got their goals, they got some confidence. They can now start getting back to being what we expected from this team. And then they laid a dud in Philly, like they believed that it was all like we're all good. It's now, is that hunger going to be there against Dallas on Thursday?
That's going to be the test.
And that's where we're going to. I think this weekend is going to be pivotal for me as to what we're going to get from the Oilers this year. If they come up and put 2 duds in the next 2 games, now Nashville shouldn't be a dud.
No,
I shouldn't say that. That one's.
If they're 4 or 5-1 by the end of the week, that's like you're like, okay, they're back.
If they go and lose to the Stars like they did to the Rangers last week, I will have big concerns about this team for the rest of the year then. Because you're not being able to come off of a big win against a weaker opponent and keep a good game going against another good team. And if you lose that one, I don't care almost then, I guess Nashville, I'll have to see who's after that. But it's like...
They go on the road.
Is it, I don't know if it's Vancouver first or who it is, but it's just one of those... I don't know when will this team then start turning it around? And I will be a lot closer to a panic of this team if we don't see a good game on Thursday.
Well, that's just the thing, right? Because you're always like, it's early, but when does it stop being early, right? And I know you've discussed that a lot with Cass on the post-game show where when can teams stop saying it's early? Because you're well into this. We're heading into November.
10% of the season.
Exactly. So do you think this kind of break in the schedule where they played Sunday, they don't play till Thursday helps them or hurts them coming off a win? Regardless of how some people might think they played and maybe didn't deserve the win, but they won.
I thought they played good. I thought they played a much better game. Calgary just...
Like, would it be better if they played tomorrow, for example? Like, right back at it, feeling good about themselves?
I think they need a break. Everybody needs to, like, decompress. Maybe if the game was on Wednesday, it would be better.
Yeah,
but,
okay.
You know, they have 2 days of practice, and if they really are implementing some tweaks to their system, because I know there was talk going into yesterday's game. I think John Shannon put it out there that they were going back to man-on-man and going from zone. I asked Cass about it, because I don't know if there was scrambly elements to the game. I don't know if it was everything that was going on. But, like, watching that game, I'm like, it was an outdoor game where it's like, okay, how much of the system are they playing? And
it's almost like you can't read into too much that you see in an out. I don't. Yeah, it's weird.
And I said that to Cass. I'm like, did you notice if they switched their system? And he's like, no, they just executed. And they didn't get hemmed in their own zone outside of the 5-on-3s.
I was just going to say that one thing that was clear yesterday, they weren't giving up those high danger slot chances or anything like that. No. So,
like the one goal was 5-on-3 right at the end of the 5-on-3.
1 second, I think, was left.
Yes. And then the other one was Ekholm got walked, and they had lack of coverage on the rebound after Skinner made the first save. So that was off the rush, where they've been terrible this year. So,
yeah.
If they play well against Dallas, get a result. Dallas is 4-1-1 by the way.
But is Edmonton at the point where, like Maddie said, like the next game is huge, and that's a good team in Dallas.
Yeah.
You have to win, right? Like, it's not, we're no longer there where it's like, oh, they played really well but lost by 1 goal.
You can't have that
If they lose a really good hockey game where we sit there and say they played a great game, but the Stars got that 1 goal, I think I could live with that. I think, and then I'm not looking for a moral victory. Like, you'll still be disappointing loss. But as long as it's a game where, okay, the Oilers players all came out to play, it just happened that one night the Stars maybe got that 1 extra save or that 1 extra shot. Like, I can maybe live with it. Mm-hmm. But, you know, they lose a 3-1 hockey game or something.
Where they've got no jam like they did on Thursday
or
night.
There's that, they have a period where they just don't play well, and that's what costs them or something.
Yeah.
Then it's going to be, okay, when's this team actually going to figure it out and turn it around? And I don't know if they will. Like, that will be a big question that will creep into my mind, because you didn't do it after Nashville. You get your second win at Heritage Classic. If you can't do it again, where you get a couple days off to rest and very light schedule. Yep. You know, when was the game before? That was Thursday before. So you even had like a few days between Sunday's game and the last game. Like, you have had some time off. So at what point are you going to start winning these hockey games and start rattling off a bunch of victories?
Right.
Like winning 3 or 4 or something like that. So it's got to happen. If they don't win against Dallas, I will be a little concerned about this team, or more than concerned about this team.
How was the vibe post game with the team? Like, obviously the players, you get a lot of cliche stuff, but were they like, yeah, we're happy we won? Or was it like, yeah, but we need to take that?
Yesterday they were pumped up. Okay. Like, there was like enthusiasm and hype.
Which is fair, because it's
the good,
it's
really
an event,
good energy,
right?
Yeah.
So because I was just getting like, if they're, that's the worry, right? That sometimes this team feels really good about themselves and they go into the next game and they're not as sharp. So
maybe it's good, like looking at it from a different perspective, that they have that extra day or two coming off of this, because now they can reset their focus and get that event mentality and overstimulation with so much going on out of their system.
Yeah.
And now time to go to work. All right, full practice on Tuesday, full practice on Wednesday, good game day routine. Thursday will probably be optional skate. And then, by the way, you're getting the Dallas Stars who are cruising right now. Let's see how Dallas does in the next couple days before they come into Edmonton. But maybe it's good to get the Heritage Classic, that feeling and the glow out of the system, and then refocus and then try to
a
get
good
a
day
win.
off, enjoy it, and then get back to work.
Where do they go in net?
Where do they go now?
In net.
In net. Well, that's Skinner 2 starts in a row. I think they go to Campbell. I think
You're splitting these next two, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Do you
But
not
they're
go
not
to
back to back though, are they?
like-
Thursday, Saturday?
Would you go Skinner for a third straight and then you give Campbell Nashville?
No, because I feel like then Campbell's rested a little too long. I feel like if Campbell's last game was last Tuesday, I'd go to him on Thursday and give Skinner on Saturday.
I think the Oilers are at the point where play the guy that's giving you the best chance. Like if Campbell has to sit, who cares?
Skinner's the only reason why they only lost 3-0 to New York on Thursday.
I'd go Skinner Thursday, and if they win that game and he's sharp, you go with him Saturday. Like
The only problem I have with that is if Skinner has a falter game, then you've put Jack Campbell in a rough spot to try to get that net back.
Yeah.
But for me,
understand.
it's Skinner 1, Campbell 2. Like it's this team needs wins, and it's not about being a nice guy and like, well, we got to get both guys. But no, you don't. You just play the guy that gives you the best chance to win. And so now, in fairness to Jack Campbell, he hasn't had a lot of help. I mean, we were watching that Minnesota game together, and in the second period, like he stood on his head.
Yeah.
Now his stats are not very good, but I mean, right now I think this is Skinner's net, and you run with him until he falters. I mean, he's gonna lose a game. He's gonna have an off game, but I think right now, coming off a big win last night, I think going to Campbell would be not a mistake, but I just why not run the guy that's won you 2 games?
Well, that was Skinner's first win.
First win, sorry.
I got you, but put together 2 good
yeah,
starts.
2 good starts, yeah. Because even the Ranger game, you can't really fault him.
No, it would have been 6-0. He was making some great stops.
Yeah.
I think that's part of why he got the start on Sunday night.
And
I also think it's all the local boy.
I wondered
that
about
helps.
that too. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think I think it's a lot easier to go to Jack Campbell. Like, look, this is Skinner's hometown.
Yeah.
This is his stadium he's grown up around.
Talked about that last night too.
As opposed to going to Skinner, but being, I know you're the local guy, but we're going with the out-of-towner. Like, I feel like that had to play into this.
who's been better though? I know it's early, but
First
I don't
week,
think-
people said Campbell. Now I think you're looking at Skinner going, geez, he's
I
playing
mean, it's
all
not
right.
like it's a
No.
runaway for
No.
either guy.
And
but
that's why I go with, I think you still need to have Campbell going, because there hasn't been a clear cut. We know who the number 1 is right now. You do the whole body of work
Yeah.
of the season right now, I would say they're neck and neck.
That's fair. I'm with you on that.
So then Campbell sitting like Tuesday through to the next Saturday, I'd rather play him on the Thursday and have Skinner going on the Saturday.
yeah, that's a tough call.
Right.
I do think they're going to roll Skinner,
I feel like they might as well.
and then how that game goes will determine who gets.
Campbell played great against Nashville too a couple weeks
That's
ago.
so, man, maybe
That's a
save
good
him for that
point, too.
game.
Yeah.
And then you've got the two. You figured out those two.
Yeah.
Edmonton's on a streak against Nashville too, right? So
Yeah, they are.
Except, you know what the Oilers aren't good at?
what's that?
And if Dave Jameson
Oh,
was here
yeah.
like he was supposed
There
to
we
be, matinees to 1 o'clock on Saturday.
yeah.
So what's gonna win out? Is it the Oilers struggle in matinees or the Oilers own the Nashville Predators?
Right.
I hate afternoon hockey
We've got a
games.
couple weeks in a row with them. Like there's the thing
Because then they go to Tampa
Yep.
at 2 the week after, and then the week after on the Friday, they've got the 1 o'clock in Washington on the Friday.
Yes.
But this Saturday, people have a chance at a doubleheader here in town.
Ooh.
1 o'clock, Oilers Preds. Jump on the LRT, head to Footfield. 5 o'clock, Bears, Huskies, U Sport Canada West playoffs, baby. Football there.
Did you guys see the Manitoba
Oh my-
Calgary
yes.
Dinos highlights? How crazy was that?
What did they take a knee?
Like coaches just overthinking it. We saw that in the in NCAA.
Yeah,
didn't
my
we?
team.
Yeah,
Hurricanes screwed up. And Tommy didn't want me to talk about it at the time. The U baby, big overtime win against Virginia this weekend. Don't ask me about my Cougs.
Oh boy!
But no, it's. I think there was 15 seconds to go second down, and I think it was run the ball because you'd have to still do one more play for the knee. I guess I don't know. I don't think you're not expecting to fumble there. But he did. 2-point conversion. Manitoba goes to the playoffs. Calgary's knocked out.
Unreal.
Just unreal. And that's the beauty of sports. And I thought the call was great. I don't know the gentleman's name, but he had a great call on the.
Well, Eric brought it up this on the morning show today. We have good, bad, and the ugly. Calgary had a rough weekend sports wise. Flames lose to the Oilers Battle of Alberta.
Yeah.
Dinos football gets eliminated on one of the weirdest things you'll ever see. And then Canadian soccer action, CPL. It was the finals. Calgary in Hamilton taking on Forge. Calgary went up 1-0 in extra time. Lost 2-1. The goal that they lost by was a corner kick Olympico goal.
Oh,
no.
Scoring from the corner straight into the net.
Wow.
So, and they had the lead in extra time.
Wow.
They took the 1-0 lead in extra time and still blew it. So they lose the CPL final. They get knocked out of Canada West playoffs in the weirdest way, and then they lose the Battle of Alberta
Stamps
to the
lost
Oilers.
too, right? I know it doesn't matter.
Dusty
I
called that
honestly
game. I
didn't even
missed
pay
it.
attention to the CFL this weekend because it was such a nothing weekend.
Yeah, it was.
Ranger Seamus texts in 780-218-9999. By the way, boys, Dallas does play in Calgary the night before, so they should be able to take advantage. We'll see if the Oilers can do that.
That said, how good is Calgary of a test for Dallas?
This is the thing
36-13 Winnipeg won, yeah.
This is the thing since I've been young. I always looked at teams that I follow, like Oilers, Elks, Niners. Not so much in football, but in hockey, because when you get an American team, they're always Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, right? Mm-hmm. For the most part. Mm-hmm. See, they always kind of look at their result before they play Edmonton and see, oh man, like I always want the team that's visiting Edmonton the night before to win.
Right.
Because
so
then they're
satisfied.
They're coming in a little more satisfied,
Yeah.
maybe a little more loose. But when they lose, you're like, we're going to get an angry team or blah, 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 right? So I don't know if that's crazy, but I've always looked at it that way. And so far, I've seen Vancouver is always getting the teams after them being in Calgary and Edmonton. And they've been very successful. They're winning those games because they're getting these teams probably on the end of their road trip, right? So it's something I look into. Maybe it doesn't, if Dallas loses in Calgary, it doesn't mean the Oilers can't beat them. I'm just saying you're getting an angrier team. Maybe it's a stupid way of going about it.
No,
but
I think there's a mental aspect to all
Yeah,
this.
there is.
Yeah.
When you win the night before, you're feeling good, and maybe you have that little extra brain lapse that your focus is a little off because we got this win, we're good, or whatever it might be. And whereas if you lost, you're pissed off.
Yeah. Because it didn't work with the Rangers. They won in Calgary, then they beat Edmonton, and then they go into Vancouver. And Vancouver played them really well and got a really bad call against them in overtime that led to the winning goal, but they got a point out of it. So it doesn't always work that way. But
It's not an exact science.
Yeah,
right?
but I look at it that way always.
The back-to-back isn't the big one. It's the 3 and 4 and the 5 and 7s. I remember, especially traveling with the team, and you'd have those longer road trips, and the guys would be gassed.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
It's those, it's the long trips you always see at the end. If the Oilers go on a 5-game road trip, you always know that last game, it's like,
Those are the
that
tough
one,
ones.
if they lose that one, you're kind of expecting it because they're probably looking ready to get back home and sleep in their own bed as opposed to just staying on the road.
That is true. And you do get that, especially if a trip is longer than 5 days.
Yeah.
You're like, and that first sleep back home in your own bed is amazing. You sleep like an angel. It's unreal.
Traveling with the Elks, it's a 2-day trip, right, Tom? And you've traveled with the team, and I always say, the day of the game, after the game, it's busy.
Yep.
The equipment guys are packing things up. The trainers are doing some last minute, stuff on the players, and then they help load up. And then I'm doing media, and then we're all helping load up, and then kind of scrambling, and everybody's on the bus, and then you get on the plane, and then and that's just one trip.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being on a 5-game road trip where you're doing that. Sometimes
Every second
on back,
night.
yeah,
The trainers and equipment guys, they're going to rinks and they're leaving the rink. Sometimes I think some of them do sleep at the rink, not often, but sometimes they don't get out of an arena after they set up the gear. The laundry has to be done, all that stuff. They don't get out of the rink like till like 3 a.m.
They're the real MVP.
Yeah, like they go to the hotel, maybe get like 2 hours of sleep, and then they're back at the rink at like 6:30. And so, yeah, those guys grind, man, and they are kind of the lifeblood of the team, as you know.
Yeah,
because the players they talk to them, the players trust all of them, and they feed off of each other's energy. It's interesting that way.
We land, and then our guys like Dan and Braid and Cheese, like then they have to wait for the truck to get loaded, and then back to the stadium, and then up super early, or they just go straight to the stadium and have to load everything. Like, you know, I'm kind of lucky in the sense where I just get to go home after and go to bed, right? So it's, you know, equipment guys, trainers, it's busy on the road, and obviously at home as well. But like I was telling you, like, man, those NHL guys, like those long road trips, that's a grind.
Yep, it really is. They bust their butt really hard. RCN texts in asking about, speaking of equipment, did Jack Campbell have a special setup for the Heritage Classic? The answer is no.
Then I think that tells you this whole time they were planning Skinner.
That might be the case too. Yeah.
Can you imagine he gets the Grand Fear setup and they're like, "You're not playing."
McDavid had a good line when they're like, "Did you see his Grand Fear setup? Yeah, it's sick. Now he's just got to go put it to good use." I was like, "Yeah, touche."
It was sick.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Yeah, it was. But that's a good point. He was probably playing no matter what.
I think the only way it wouldn't have been him is he would have had to been playing really poor.
Yeah.
Coming in or an injury. But I think if he has that whole equipment and Campbell doesn't, I think that's a sign of who's going to play. And maybe it was just known at the start of the year. And I think Jack Campbell would fully understand that too.
Yeah.
Like the local boy playing
What'd
in his home.
you guys think of the walk-in gear for the teams?
Oh, okay. I have a story about that. I think. Do you want to jump in for?
No. Just for those that don't, that's the Oilers. They came in with their oil worker gear, and then the Flames came in like the overalls, Cowboys type thing. By the way, Tom Gazzola, Hernan Salas, Iwanyk with here on the EST Hangout. Go ahead.
Flames looked like they looked. I thought it was hilarious, but at the same time, I'm like, that's bad. So they're gonna get made fun of so bad. The Oilers. I remember talking to Sean May from the Oilers PR staff in the summer, and he's like, we're trying to figure out what they should walk into the stadium with because this is becoming a thing. Like you saw the Red Sox, they dressed up, or the Bruins dressed up as the Red Sox, the Penguins as the Pirates. That was cool. And then the game last year in Raleigh where the Canes had like the freshman jackets. So Sean's like, we're thinking of doing that. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, use the oil rig worker from the old shoulder patch logo. He's like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And then I see them yesterday. I think
because of Tommy.
A lot of people probably said that to him.
No,
but I remember telling
we're giving
him,
Tom full credit.
Thank you. Yeah, but they did a great job. And Kate Doyle, who's team services, director of team services over there, she's excellent. And
good job taking Tommy's work and putting it to use.
Yeah,
his idea.
Thank you.
Well done, Kate.
But like making it look a little bit like dirty and the helmet's ruffled up and stuff. I thought that was excellent. I will say I thought that was one of the better ones.
Yeah, it was. I saw Calgary's first. I missed Edmonton's on Twitter, and then I was like, oh, that's pretty. I mean, it fits. It's like coming in with one win, and you know, like I think Hyman said it pregame. You know, kind of like put the work boots on and let's get to work here. So I didn't mind it. I thought Calgary's was fine. It was good for a laugh, but like you said, it's a little cringy at times. You're like,
if you're not a hockey fan or you're not a fan of any of the Alberta teams, say you're in like San Jose and you're like, what are the Calgary Flames doing? They look like clowns. I think it's fun. If they wore like a plaid shirt or something underneath, I think it would have been better. Whatever. Like, put your cowboy hat, cowboy boots on.
It's the NHL doing something different, and I'll never criticize them for that because they don't do it enough.
True. Yeah. Right? No, I'll give them personality, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what we always want in this game.
Absolutely.
So I didn't mind it at all. I thought it was great on both teams.
Mm-hmm. CFL playoffs coming up this weekend. Do you think the Saturday's a good idea?
Get away from NFL on Sunday?
Because I found the one issue this weekend I realized the one issue of moving it to Saturdays locally is that you've now hurt U Sports playoffs because they play on Saturday. And you're now like, if the Elks were playing this weekend, they'd be playing, I think, the West Finals at 4 or semis at 4 or whatever. Bears is playing at 5. you've just hurt yourself. Like you've hurt the next generation, right? Like the NFL doesn't play on Saturdays because they don't want to mess with the NCAA. Like they're giving them that day to do their thing. The CFL moving to Saturdays, it's like, well, you've kind of hurt U Sports. Now I feel like maybe U Sport maybe should move to Friday so that they're not going up against each other. But beyond that, I think it should work.
Yeah.
It's like this year too with the Sunday games a lot. Like I thought they worked. I kind of like Saturday. I think it's, again, you're not going up against the big the big NFL league there. So, and I think for fans, like it's more of a party now.
Yeah,
you're not worried about, oh man, I got to go to work tomorrow and all that. So I think in that sense, as a fan, I think you'd love the Saturday game, and we'll see if it works out. Like you said, it does hurt the university sports, but if you can find a way to like separate the times or something like that, and I know it's kind of set in stone at the start of the season, but I'm intrigued to see how Saturday works for the CFL. I think throughout the season the Sundays work, so I don't see why the Saturdays won't work.
I thought the Sundays were great for the summer.
Yeah,
me too.
Well, obviously when NFL's not going, it's even better. But I like the party atmosphere, mentality, Hernan, more beer sales, all of that. There is hype this time of year for the CFL. Honest, Matty, and this is nothing against U Sport because I want it to be successful. I want people to watch it. It just doesn't have the same draw as the CFL. And
absolutely.
So the CFL is taking advantage, I think, which is smart.
When
Good
you're
business.
the bigger league here, you sometimes have to look after the people below
ones.
you.
Yeah.
And you've got to protect them. And you've got to, like, it's one thing I'll say in Edmonton, I feel like the Oilers sometimes don't do enough of helping the rest of the sports teams in the city and promoting them and pumping them up because you're the top dog. When you say something, people listen, whatever it might be. And when you're the CFL, like, and I'm not saying this that like, oh, the CFL is going to lose people because they're going to go to U Sport. No. I look at it as the U Sport now is going to be impacted in a way because you've now taken it.
Yeah.
And either U Sport needs to react to this and move to Fridays with this or something, or play games a bit earlier or something.
I was going to say.
Or maybe they move to Sunday. Like I know the CFL is going to struggle with going up against the NFL, but maybe U Sport could be like, well, we're just looking for a certain small crowd. We're not looking for 30, 35,000.
Yeah.
Maybe they look to move to the Sunday or something like that. But it's when you're in football in Canada, CFL is the top.
Yeah.
You've now hurt that next level because you've said we're moving our playoffs to there. And yeah, if you wanted to watch any sort of U Sports or head to games this weekend, well, now you got to choose between U Sport or the CFL.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but in years past, there would be like a huge Canadian football day, and I think it was Sportsnet would show some U Sport, and it would generally be earlier in the day. Like their kickoffs would be, I don't know, 11 locally. So say you staggered it that way, where you had the U Sport games closer to 11 noon-ish. They do get some national broadcasts, right?
I don't think this year they are.
No, they don't. Okay,
I don't know. Things are getting worse. Like you can't even watch CHL hockey this year on regular TV.
This is not on TSN
TSN's
anymore?
throwing it all on Plus or whatever it is.
Oh wow. Okay.
They're not on it's not even like starting till Memorial Cup on TSN. Like we're getting less of these broadcasts being put out there.
there's less TSN staff to actually broadcast those games. They're not pumping money into broadcasts anymore. So that's a big factor as well. And listen, Rogers isn't really pumping a lot of money into other sports
like
outside of hockey
Cup,
either.
I think it's CBC. They did. I know they did the game last year. I don't know if CBC is going to jump in and do any of the games prior. Like they have the Mitchell and I always forgot what the other one is. I don't know if they're going to jump in and do some of those.
But those used to be on, and I remember.
Always, and then Sportsnet used to be the go-to. For that. They'd always have an OUA game or whatever, the Ontario League game,
and I would watch that. Then I'd
Tim
flip over to
McAuliffe
TSN, and then I'd watch the CFL playoffs. Like So I assumed it would be something along those lines. But maybe there is a way to harmonize a Saturday for U Sport and the CFL and just kind of stagger the times out east, stagger the times out west, and make it on a Saturday.
Or not just moving away from going head-to-head with the NFL, but the CFL now is going head-to-head with the NHL.
Which is why I'm surprised at the time they chose on Saturday.
Yeah.
I get TV-wise, it does make sense. I think it's 1 and 4 or 4:30. Let me double-check the times for this one.
So 1 o'clock won't hurt.
No.
The 4 o'clock one will.
You're going up against, at one point with that next game, whoever plays the Saturday, whoever the Leafs are playing.
Like the Argos play at 4 and then the Leafs play at 5. I mean, where's Toronto going to be?
Leafs, obviously.
Yeah.
So where's the play? Hold
And
on
if-
here.
what if the Raptors are playing?
Raptors.
So 1 o'clock and 4:30.
Okay.
Which is what they usually do for Sundays, and that's
Yeah.
what they've done. I would have I think if you did 11 and 2:30 like the Labor Days used to be, that would be the better time. 1 o'clock Eastern time kickoff out there. That would be then a 2:30 kickoff if you're in the West, 1:30 if you're in Vancouver in that game.
Yeah.
And that game will finish before Hockey Night in Canada begins.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
That's where I think it should have been coming into this, is that you take the morning, take the early afternoon, lead into hockey in that way, and you might get a better audience for the Saturdays.
Yeah.
EST glue guy chiming in, J Mill, says UTech Bowl, Mitchell Bowl, Hardy Cup.
Thank you.
Thank
UTech
you,
Bowl.
Jay.
That's the other one. I know the Hardy is the winner of the Canada West.
Yeah.
Bears are playing.
Huskies.
Nice.
Beat them twice this year. It concerns me. I'm one of those guys when you see your team, like when you go beat a team twice in a year or
Yeah.
something, like you're due for a loss then against them, right?
Or you just run them
Or you
over
just
again.
keep, yeah.
Which I hope they run them over. But then it's also UBC's beaten the Bears twice this year now.
Right.
Yeah.
And they would have to play UBC the week after maybe. And that's where okay, well,
Flip the cycle.
Good for
of
them
that,
though.
but-
That's pretty cool. Good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was cold on Saturday. Saw your boss there with his kid, Dahmer.
Dahmer.
I think I saw Aaron Grimes was at the game.
Oh, probably.
Stoff was there. Mooner was there.
Aaron Grimes is he's an Edmontonian.
Is he
now,
staying?
Oh yeah, he's making his home here.
Because he was also at there was an event this
Pay It
weekend.
Forward,
Pay It
yeah.
Forward. I saw he was there.
Yeah, I'll say AG is the best.
His family has a tailgate spot.
He's just
They
a
do?
dude.
Yeah.
That's cool. He seems like a really good guy.
I know.
He is.
I've never-
I think
never
he should be
come
on the
across him,
Hangout
though.
one day.
Oh, I was actually going to ask you because I've been seeing him around town. I was going to
Yeah.
ask you when we were off the air if there's a way we could try to get him in.
100%.
But didn't want to program on the air fully. I'd love to talk
Just
to him about his career.
booking on the air. Right?
But yeah, no, like it's the Bears are going to be fun to watch. Let's see what happens this weekend. Like it was a rough game for them this past Saturday against UBC. UBC really controlled that football game. But now you get the Huskies.
Eli's their quarterback, right? Eli Hetlinger.
I don't know the players. I'm not that.
I think
because
because he was with us at camp, kind of like just he practiced with the team, but he's just an understudy. And great kid, great positive attitude. Learned a lot, and seems like it's paying off because he's been really good this season.
I like that they do that.
Yeah,
That's a cool thing. You get a little taste of pro life, and who knows?
The one thing about the Golden Bears too, it was their last regular season game of the season, so you honor the guys who are graduating. They only have 4 graduates.
So this is a young team that's
really
building.
good.
Well, like
Yeah.
that's
They
the
should be
thing
better
that like
next
they
year.
should be back next year and
Yeah.
all that. Yeah, they had 4 guys that they announced that were graduating. And
Wow.
like unless I was missing something, like to only lose 4 guys in football, I feel like that's really good
Yeah.
for the next year where you could come out when you were the second best team in Canada West and do it again. Whatever happens this year, roll it out.
They have
roll it
really,
back.
really nice uniforms as well, I have
They
to
do.
say.
some of the combos they wear.
Oh, yeah.
It's really
The
good.
green and gold color is sharp.
Yeah, but the way they
way-
do it, like
Are we talking football or hockey?
both.
both?
I'm talking
Okay.
football
Okay, you're
specifically
yeah.
right now, but like their jerseys, I can't remember if they're Adidas or Nike, but they're really nice. They're like NFL fit. I'm like, ooh,
Boys, we gotta go to a U of A hockey game.
those are awesome.
Love Claire Drake.
Have a.
We need to take YouTube Trev there because he's never been.
YouTube Trev would have a field day. He would
Oh,
love
I love
that.
it. There's something about being in that barn, you know,
best
having
barn.
a beer, a nice hot dog, and just watching some good hockey.
I'm sitting in Bob Stauffer's seat purposely.
I don't even know where his seat is.
But we should make
wherever.
a date and all go together. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'm in.
It's been
Go
a while
say hi to
since I've been-
Yaremchuk as he's
Of
calling the game.
course.
Yeah, Mooner's always
our
there.
boy Yaremchuk.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
as long as
Reed
the
goes a
Oilers are
lot.
around.
He does, yeah.
As long as the Oilers aren't playing and they're in town, you'll see Bob and Mooner and all of those guys there.
Yeah. I went with them last year and Johnny Sexsmith too. The amount of men, old and young, that came to Bob to kiss the ring was unbelievable. I was like, this
Like
is...
the Godfather.
Yeah, and he's, and I'm like, oh my God, this is painful to watch. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And you've got John Sexsmith, Cam Moon sitting right there, and like, they just don't even bother acknowledging those guys. They just go right to
I know
Bob. I'm like,
Dahmer goes a lot too.
But he also worked Canada West, right?
Yeah.
So he has that extra But also
he
his
did
dad.
games, right?
He did with Dusty.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He also, his dad,
Yeah,
long
of
time
course,
Golden
yeah.
Bears head coach and stuff. So he's been around the university
Yeah.
for a long time. I
Yeah,
guess
he's a
it'd be,
big supporter of it,
But yeah, he
so,
was there with his kid this weekend for the football game.
And John's kid plays there.
John's
right now.
kid scored the game winner last week.
The OT
Yeah.
winner,
Yeah.
right?
Against Calgary a couple weekends ago.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's great.
there's never also one thing that helps Claire Drake is historically when you go, you're seeing a win.
Yeah.
Like historically, the Bears are just so good that
Yeah,
generally
yeah.
when you've gone to games, you're not walking away with a loss and being upset. You're going, Bears with another one tonight.
go to the
All right. And so that always helps, I guess, too. So
You know what's funny? Every time we go to U of A for whatever event, I always think to myself, I'm like, the school I wasn't smart enough to get into.
Hey, Nate alum right here.
I
man.
could have
All of
gone.
us are.
my grades could have got me into the U of A.
I'm not surprised.
But I wanted radio.
Yeah,
That was the thing. And it was, you could open up the door further if you'd like.
Well, we didn't.
Okay. Dusty's showing someone around here.
Sweet.
It's just, I always dreamt of going to the U of A growing up. And they just didn't have the program for me.
But you're right though. Like I went to school way later than you guys did. But like my dream was always radio and something in sports. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I was like, and the radio and television program at Nate is fantastic.
It is great.
It is. Like
They do a good
you have a
job.
lot of fun, but like I always say, when you leave radio and television, like, and you get hired at a station, like you're ready to go.
Yeah.
Like that's how good it is, right? Like nothing catches you like, oh my God, like maybe you have to learn the board or the system they use or anything like that. But yeah, I had so much fun.
So
And
did
I was
I.
older too. So I was the old guy, the token old
How
guy.
old were you when you went to Nate?
I was in my early 30s.
Oh shoot, I was 21. So I thought I was a bit older. Like
Yeah,
Ryan Meyer and his lovely wife Haley, they were in my TV class, and they were like 18. They were babies, and I thought I was young at 21, but I was one of the older people in the program.
I was
Then we had like a
18.
couple 40-year-olds.
I,
It was different.
So I got lucky though, because there's a guy, Richard, Hungarian guy, and he was my age, so we kind of hit it off. So I didn't feel so out of place. We were both in our early 30s, just late bloomers, I guess. Tommy, and so
Well, Gregor didn't go till he was later, too.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he was in the oil field before he started
Yeah.
working at
Late
or went
20s,
to
I
Nate.
think.
Yeah.
I think it also helped me get in right away, because I've met a lot of younger people and they're like, man, I've applied 3 times and I still can't get in. And I think because of my age, they're like, yeah, this guy's not here to mess around.
Right.
Like so I got kind of lucky in that sense. So, but I remember doing, I was a huge fan of these guys on the radio, right? And then I would do like, you had to do assignments and do like commercials and stuff, and they were all involving you guys. Like,
Really?
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Nice.
And then one of my buddies there, he goes, hey, I'm mopping at the station.
Hi, Jordan.
And they need someone. And I'm like, oh. And then I interviewed with Maddie and JMO,
Nice.
which now we're really good friends, but it was bizarre. It was, met a lot of good people, and I'm still friends with all of them, but it's...
I'm meeting with 3 Nate kids this week
All right, more help.
for practicums. I'm back on the practicum train.
But I-
Because
but I
I had
mean-
me and Jim had a lot of practicum kids at Nate. Or at
But imagine
Total
for
State.
those kids now, like with the way sports here, like when everything got shut down, it was so sad, and it was just, you're looking at the kids at Nate and saying, man, like, and now you see there's so much opportunity, and I love that you guys are doing that, and these kids are probably so excited to kind of come in and help for a few months and learn the landscape, right?
Yeah.
landscape and just the industry.
The industry,
There's a lot
because it's
of knowledge
changing.
there. It is.
You've been in it for
14 years.
14 years. Like,
15 if you count school.
It's crazy.
Question for you guys. Remember the career investigation report to
Yeah.
get into radio and TV?
Yeah.
Who did you guys do it with?
I interviewed.
I talked with Gene.
You got Gino?
I talked with Gene a little
You
bit.
were his
'cause I
studio
was-
runner a couple years
there's-
after I was.
Because I knew someone, she works at CTV, and she was doing stuff with Aquila. So she got me working at
Who was that?
Aquila. Ashley.
Oh, I know Ashley.
Ashley Bosco.
Yeah.
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 Family friend and stuff. So she got me working with Aquila. So I was working with Aquila. And so there's various
right.
people that I was able to do that with to get then the career investigation done.
You had to do one or
pretty sweet.
two.
One.
Just the one.
I had to do two. So
What?
I did Jason Greger
Excellent.
and Mark Majot.
Why'd you have to
Excellent.
do 2?
They wanted to.
Wow.
I think those
And I
are-
think it's changed. No, never.
there's always changing things there.
I had Vinesh Pratap,
Oh, Vinesh.
and he was awesome. Like, I went into Global with my brother, and both of us ended up in the program. I went in before my brother Mike did. Mike's a news reader, a news anchor, and producer in Calgary City News now. Anyway, so Vinesh was awesome. He showed up at my school because there was like a bomb threat at AOB or a lockdown or something. And
You had one of those too?
Oh no, it wasn't. It wasn't a bomb. It was a lockdown because there was a guy that holed himself up like a few blocks away with a gun.
Wait, why were you there? That happened when I was there.
I was there.
So what happened?
You went to
2000
AOB too?
2003.
Yeah,
He was in
Ukrainian
AOB.
program. There's a Ukrainian bilingual program
Yeah.
I was in, and there's only certain schools
I
could
had
go to.
no idea there was a Ukrainian program till I ended up at the school. My mom made me go there because she's like, "You're not gonna go to O'Leary."
And you're north side, right?
Yeah,
That's
I was
quite
like, I'm gonna go to O'Leary. I went to St. Cecilia, and she's like, all your Maple Leaf friends and all your Italian buddies and cousins are gonna be at O'Leary. You have no hope in hell. I'm sending you to Austin O'Brien. I was like, what?
And look at you
Where is
now,
that? Yeah,
man.
look at me now. But the
Yeah.
Ukraine,
See, I kind of wish though I did O'Leary because I would be a little tougher. Maybe I wouldn't be as soft as I am right now.
whatever. It doesn't. My brothers went to O'Leary, and they're soft as baby
O'Leary
poo.
was tough.
Anyway, so but my mom goes and talks to Vinesh Pratap, and he gives her the business card. She was a secretary. She ended up working at AOB, which was ridiculous too, by the way. It's a long story. And so we did the career investigation with him. But I've seen him a few times at like events that he's covered, and I don't know if I should like be like, thank you. And I don't know if he remembers me either. So it's just
Probably
kinda-
doesn't.
Yeah, probably not.
You know,
I don't know if you'd remember those. Maybe he does.
I don't know.
Why
It's
are
just
you
kinda
scared
like-
of it? Like,
Yeah.
Vinesh is great.
I-
Long time
I
around
know,
here.
but I'm
You're
like-
Tom Gazzola. Just walk up.
You're Tommy G.
No,
man.
I'm Tommy.
No, I'm not.
T-Biscuit.
It's just some-
T-Biscuit. Worked at the Score, the Edmonton Oilers, CTV. Now Edmonton Sports Talk, 1260.
TSN.
Look at me, boom.
You know what's
Yeah.
great, and I love it, is when you're driving around or you're at home watching news, and then you see people that you went to school with or you met at Nate, like succeeding and doing what they went for, right? Like now
Well-
it's not everyone, because some people went in different directions, but I still find it so cool. Like I'm on the radio or I see someone working for a hockey team or on the news. It's like, hey, we went to school together.
Well, Josh Park, I saw there was a picture yesterday of him, Brendan Escott of the Oilers Radio
yeah.
Network, Chad, and Tony Brar. They all
Yeah.
went to like Nate together or whatever, and they took a picture because they're all working the Heritage Classic in some way. And it was like, I saw
That's
that. I was like, that's a
awesome.
pretty cool photo. Like
That's
the three
awesome.
Nate
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
together
Yeah.
doing that.
And especially like those classes, like I don't know, there's only like a couple of us that are still on air from my class. The one I get excited about is whenever I see Ryan Meyer on stage. And I'm like, that's my boy.
Boys just
He's a
got
rock
back
star.
from a big East Coast trip. We'll have to get one of them in to talk about
I
that.
met him when I started in 2014 at 1260. And then,
Me?
No,
Ryan?
Ryan. And it took me like 5 years. I didn't even know he was like he could sing. Like,
Man,
like
they're
the
good.
vocals, and I'm like, damn, man.
Yeah, I know.
It's in the family. Sister sings really well
Yeah.
too.
Oh, really?
Danae.
Danae
Yeah,
sings really
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Is she radio too?
Virgin.
Yeah.
She's in Calgary.
Yeah.
She used to be on the Bear, then she went to Victoria. Now she's in Calgary. And she's been at Virgin Calgary for a long time now.
It's just crazy because like Nate's put out a lot of people, like not just in Edmonton.
Across the country.
Across
Gordon
the
Miller
country.
left Nate's because he got a job, and Gordon Miller's career
He's
is
in
taking off.
Mudrick.
Mudrick,
Maybe not.
yes.
Muniz,
Yeah,
Rashagas.
Moon. No, Shogger's
Is it?
BCIT.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Daryl McIntyre was.
Natasha.
D-Mac.
Natasha.
Gino.
Like it's a top program.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
Here
it's
there's the three of us and Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Majot.
Majot, yeah.
Hallie went to.
He went to the school
Yeah,
that where the
shut
person,
down.
because the person ran off with the money and she was caught in like
well, I
Virginia
think
or
Connor
something.
had the key to open it up.
Wow.
Him and Scott McCord went to that one. I always forget what it's called. Canadian Broadcast
Jeff
Institute
Walker
or
went
something.
there too.
Jeff Walker.
That's right. So
Well, Rick
yeah,
Pinter was one of his.
yeah. So the lady who ran it, she stole money and she went to the U.S. and she got caught in like Tennessee or something like that.
my God,
Eventually,
that's-
so
That's
it's a
hilarious.
story of the people that went there. If you ever see Connor or Jeff or Scott McCord, ask them about where they went to school. They'll have some
Canadian
stories
School
for
of
you.
Modern Broadcasting.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
remember that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Canadian School of Modern Broadcasting. Joe Balaneski in the Nasty Chat, by the way, saying, can you guys restart the show at a doctor's appointment this morning and just got back? Well, good news, Joe. You could go on YouTube and just slide it back and start again, or you could go check out our podcast when they come up after the show. Head to EdmontonSportsTalk.com, click on the EST Hangout, and links to everywhere, or just subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. We're also podcasts are up on TuneIn. So go and subscribe to us there. And anyone who wants to listen to us, tell your smart speaker to play Edmonton Sports Talk, and I'll play it off of TuneIn.
This tune-in thing has been great, and I've seen a bunch of texts when we're doing pre and post saying, hey, listening on TuneIn, absolutely love it. So that's been a huge get. Just to clarify, because I've also seen a couple of comments saying, do you have to pay
No.
for the premium?
No.
So it's a no on that.
Yeah, what happens is when you open up TuneIn app or even their website, a pop-up will come to ask you, do you want to pay for TuneIn Premium? When TuneIn Premium is, there's a couple things like CNN and Fox News, you get them commercial free. Plus, there's premium live sports. So like you can listen to English Premier League matches. I think MLB's on there.
Okay.
That's what TuneIn Premium is. But if you look at the top right of that, there's an X. Click that. You're into TuneIn.
Yeah.
And you can listen to us for free from there. There's just like a 30-second pre-roll when you click play on us. But yeah, you can go to the website, tunein.com, or just download their app, TuneIn, and throw it on my Android. Actually, I can't show it to the camera there, but I even have it like as a widget on my home screen.
Oh, nice.
And I could just I could hit play and it'll just start for me right there. So yeah, we're excited about it, and it's just like our web player has been good, but I know there have been some issues for some people.
Yeah.
And you know, if you're driving around and you happen to hit a Wi-Fi spot, it'll shut off your stream. You got to hit play again. With TuneIn, you don't have to do that. It just naturally goes. I think I was listening to it on Friday a bit. It might replay like the previous 3 seconds. You might hear the same words twice if it's connecting between the two.
Yeah.
But the stream stays playing. So tune in. Like if you're having issues streaming wise and you just want something that's a little more stable, TuneIn is the place to go get that. Sweet. And yeah, very excited to be partnered with TuneIn on that. So
that's a good get. We're adding more stuff, right? We're still working on other stuff, right?
We're not even 2 months into this. That's the weird part. Like we started September 6th on air.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't hit 2 months on air yet. So there's still lots to growing and lots to do.
You would be like the video portion of post game, especially. I wish that we had that at 1260 for post game, and to see your face and to see, especially when the team was bad, like 18-19. And I knew I had worked with him a little bit, and I knew how to kind of wind him up. And I would like talk like an extra minute, and I'd almost like tease him by like breaking, and then I would start talking again, and I would look at him, he'd be like, and then I'd be like, Hernan, go, and then you would just boom, boom, boom. If people could just see that the way they can now, would be amazing.
I did the reverse of that for Elks with him.
You just give it.
I started the show and I went, Hernan, let's start with you, and then he'd go. And he'd go off, and then we build from there. But I unleashed the animal right away. I didn't poke the bear inside the cage and open. I just opened it, and both worked. Both worked unbelievable. It like was must-listen radio. It was like we need to get Latino heat going and hear what has to be said.
Man.
So,
like I watch your post-game shows all the time, and I'll say this: after the Rangers lost, like the chat on YouTube was just like nonstop. Incredible. Like I couldn't even keep track.
I love the nasty chat, and I'm trying to like pick ones out, but it's usually conversation, especially when they lose.
Yeah.
Last night was very happy, and you see that in the viewership.
Yeah.
People are satisfied, but when they lose, man, it pops.
But like you and I started, like you said, when the Oilers were still struggling,
Big time.
and we'd have to do like at least 2 months of it was just
Mop
doom
up.
and gloom, right?
Yeah.
And it got really, really tough there. And then at the end, it was just like, I'm not even fired up anymore. Like, but there was a few games where, I let loose. And I felt I always just did it as a more speaking for the fans. I mean, not everybody agreed with what I had to say. A lot of people called me an idiot. But
don't worry, they called me an idiot too.
Yeah,
me too.
They always call us idiots.
And then people would always be like, yeah, Hernan, you got to do it right. But like, I didn't do them all the time because honestly, it just came natural. Like if I was
you can't force those things. Otherwise, you're Skip Bayless. Then you're Skip Bayless.
Yeah, you can tell it's fake, and so like I do it once in a while when I was really fired up. But other times I'd just be like,
what I loved is he like during a game when you're watching with him, try to like play it down. It's just whatever. This is what the team is, and like I'm not going to be that fired up on the post game. And then when he gets going, like he just goes. Like once he starts talking, he could fire himself up even.
Oh,
and then it just comes out, and you're like, yeah, this is what I was waiting for.
When we would watch in studio together, or in the talent tank, or whatever, Jock Lounge, whatever the heck we call it, talent tank.
I think they repainted.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. You would just watch him, and we had those couches in there, and he'd be watching. He'd be on his phone. He'd have his feet up on the table, and they'd get scored on. He'd be, Tommy, man, this is garbage, Tom. And I could just see by his body language what kind of show it was going to be. And the more he like sunk into the chair, the more I knew he'd be angry. So I would wait and wait, like the slow burn, and then finally toss it to him, like 5 or 6 minutes in, and he would just go.
Like sometimes I would we'd finish the first segment, and I'd be like drenched in sweat, just fired up, and people calling, and then and then Tom and I never really. We disagreed a few times. I mean, Tom was always more like the calming, like it's not.
Someone had to do it.
It's not as bad, And I'd be like flying off the handle there, but it's I'd say this, doing post game shows, man, it's a different, it's just different.
Yep.
It hits different, and we did the Chicago series after. Oh man,
When they lost that game, it was like a 2-hour therapy session.
4 months of anticipation, and it's
Yeah.
COVID, and it's a weird time in the world, and we finally get hockey back, and the Oilers last 6 days.
My favorite part of that was
I was like,
So
the Oilers started on the Saturday, were knocked out by the Friday.
yeah.
JMO had taken that week off. So we waited this whole time for sports. He goes to BC on the Friday or whatever it was. Oilers playoff starts. They get knocked out. He comes back on that Monday after, and he missed the entire playoffs. Like, waiting that entire time to talk about some local sports. It happens, and he misses it all.
So game 4 is when they lost. It was on a Friday, and I was going camping, so I didn't do the show with Tom, but I called in on the way to the lake.
He did.
That's how fired up I was.
Yeah.
I was like, but it was
A lot of people were.
It was perfect for me because you get to camping and you kind of just forget about it.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't want to deal with this, but it was such a letdown. It was like that was because it was.
Well, it's also 5 versus 12. They weren't supposed to lose, and here you go. They lose.
Yeah, it was just me and Tom we did some interesting post game shows, that's for sure, man. It was great when they finally turned around. Like it was such a pleasure to work games where they were winning and the team was good and all that. And was I with you when they beat Calgary?
Yeah.
No.
Did you already leave?
Yeah, you were gone.
Did we have Jeff Walker
Like
by
that,
then?
I'm not gonna lie. That's the one time I said, "Man, I wish I was working with Tom in these shows," because it was
It was fun.
That was your first season with the Elks.
yeah,
Yeah.
conference finals. They beat Calgary, and because remember the first game, they just get blown out.
That was a crazy
And then
game.
you're like, oh man, here we go again. Blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. And then they just rolled them. And that's the one time, I'm not going to lie, I had FOMO. I was like, man, if I could go back just for 2 weeks to talk about this series, it would have been amazing. Yeah.
It was great. Dash says, miss you, Hernan.
Oh, Dash
in
in
the
the
park.
park. We did a podcast with him in the summer. That was fun. And they're on
Oilers Live. They're
and they're on with you
right now
guys.
Tuesday nights at 9. I got to email one of the guys back. He's sent me an email this week, and I just haven't had a chance to get back to you on it. But yeah, you could catch Heavy Hockey, Oilers Live, Tuesdays right now at 9, and Wednesdays the Fantasy Hockey Hacks at 9 as well.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Edmonton Sports Talk, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. You can tune in to us on TuneIn, or tell your smart speaker, play Edmonton Sports Talk.
Dash
Works for
and
me
Michael,
finally.
right?
Yep.
They're great.
That's for Oilers Live, and then
Yeah,
there's different
yeah.
hosts for Fantasy Hockey Hacks
Yeah,
on the
I hung
Wednesday
out with
night.
them.
So,
They're great.
yeah.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. So
You ready for some time off here?
Yeah.
Any plans? Like, what is kind of like the off season like for you for the first little
it
bit?
slows down for me, but
Yeah.
I'll be doing some community stuff coming up in November. A few events I have to go. I think AG's part of one. I think I'm going with Evan Dom to a few. So obviously a lot slower. Yeah, it's crazy because like off season and then the training camp starts and it goes 0 to 100. Like so quick. Like training camp is a grind. You're there every day for 3 weeks straight.
Yeah.
And it's back-to-back seasons where we training camp right into the season, and we don't have a bye till week 9.
Yeah.
So it was a long season. So yeah, just take days off here and there, just kind of relax, reset. We're starting to plan for next season, obviously already. So yeah, it's November, December is going to be a little bit slower for me. I'm not going to say that for everybody else because it's Evan and EJ and those guys are pretty busy. So yeah, for me it's a lot slower. So just take some time to unwind after a long season.
You need that. You got to decompress.
Oh, 100%.
Big time.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I would
after just a long, like, because you only get those bye weeks, and even bye weeks, they're not even fully off for you.
No, you get
it's
a
like
1 or 2 days.
You're going
off.
for 21 weeks and all of that.
Yeah.
And I know with JMO there, you'd be like, you want to try to take time off, but during the season, you can't take time off during the season. Your time off has to come in the off season because how do you take time off when they're practicing or whatever it is, right?
When I started my first year at JMO, I remember because I go to JMO a lot. Like he's a great friend, but he's been a great person to go to for advice.
Yep. Always.
And I've gone to Tom too, like because this is the first year that CFL opened the rooms again, and I had no experience in opening a room and dealing with media. So I talked to Tom just because he's been around that atmosphere and kind of how do the Oilers do it, how do pro teams do it, and JMO's been an amazing support and helping hand and great advice and all that. So very happy. But I remember in when I was starting, he goes, Hernan, before training camp, get a haircut and get your teeth clean because you're not going to have time to train the season. And you take it with a grain of salt and you're like, yeah, whatever. And then it's like July and you have like, long hair and you're just like, holy smokes, he was not kidding. Like you have no time to like fit in anything.
Yeah.
Like anything. So that was one piece of advice J-Mo gave me, and I didn't believe him at the time, but it's true. You have to get everything done before training camp because you just don't have the time.
I always find it funny whenever I stop by Commonwealth for whatever reason and I come see you guys, like pop into the office and I sit there for an hour, whether it's you or some others in there, and I'm like, man, I probably shouldn't have eaten so much of their time up because they are busy. And you're like, and then you'd be like, I gotta go, Tom. I'm like, oh, sorry, dude. But bad.
It's fun sometimes, just like when you like, because I've seen you guys both there, and like come in and sit down, like just to talk about, other things, just for even if it's for 15, 20 minutes, because you're so like stuck on everything that's going on. So, but it's pro sports. It's fun. Like I said, you're dealing with a lot of cool guys.
There's one thing I do worry about now sometimes when I see you and go into the office is like, I wonder who's mad at me because I bashed the team and said something. And I generally want to be happy for the team and
of course
be uplifting, but like that one time, the last time I came and saw you, I was like, I might be persona non grata there. But it was fine.
I think most people are. It's. I mean, you. Record of the team or whatever, if the criticism is fair, it's fair.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone gets mad or takes it too hard. It's just you guys have a job to do and have opinions, and that's the way the sports landscape works, right?
You just talk it up too, and it's just like, okay, I won't do it again, or here's my point of view. Here's why.
Like I know Maddie doesn't hold back, and that's fine.
Oh, Maddie.
We're gonna have a pre-post next year again too.
Yeah,
this team better pick it up. Otherwise, some of those post games are gonna be a little fiery from my end.
Well,
and
in year one, when you were still at the other station and you had a post game show, like so, my kind of thing was once we were all done at the stadium and we jump on the bus to go to the airport, I'd listen to, because by that time they already had posted their post game, and I'd just listen.
Right.
Because I like hearing the feedback. I like hearing kind of like where the fan base is at and kind of like take
knowing
the
the
landscape and everything. Yeah,
of
of course.
course.
So why not, right? So, and I still kind of do it. Like I'd listen to Chad on the way to the airport and all that, just to see how people are feeling and the reaction, right? And it's great when like when we broke the streak and
it's such a great time at the stadium.
When we won our first
vibe.
game in Hamilton and when we won in Regina, like it was just such good vibes. It was awesome.
The rematch.
That was good.
Walk-off kick.
I can't believe I forgot that.
That was a nice
fantastic.
comeback.
Great vibe in the building.
That would have been a fun post game, but no, like the team better be better next year. I'm coming at them.
I'm excited for Elks pre and post on our
I
station.
can't wait. I did miss it this year, but it was
also good for you to go as a fan,
loved
right?
going back to Commonwealth as a fan and being there for the games and sitting in the seats and sitting with Mooner, and went to one game with my dad. And
You came to a game with us too.
Like it was just. It'd been years since I was able to do that.
You guys are funny because you guys always, when you would sit with Tom and Eric and we'd wave,
Eric.
and then I always knew you guys would only last the first half because I don't know where you guys go in the second half.
Directors Club.
I'd be like, where are they? So yeah.
It all depends on which game it is, but
there was one.
And then we
game-
tried waving at Rashog and getting his attention, and he's always harder to get. You, it's easy. You'll turn around, we'll get you. And then we got Dom this year, and he tried playing it cool.
I love it.
But then Rashog wasn't having any of it for a while, and then we finally got him.
We got Eric was all over Rashog the one game, and then Dahmer, you'd wave, and then Dahmer would look at us and be like,
just giving you guys a hard time. Yeah,
he's too cool for us.
Yeah, he is. There was one game, I think it was against Winnipeg, where it looked like there was threat of a storm, and it started raining, and I didn't wear a hat. I had my hair done, and I was like, Reno, let's go to Directors Club for a beer. So take my dad over there. And I'm like, okay, it's nice again, so let's go back out for the second half. My dad's like, no, we're pretty comfortable here. And our good buddy Brad Schoch, who gave him a bunch of drink tickets, and he's like, we've got all these drink tickets. We stayed there till like an hour after the game ended. I'm like, oh my God. So good. So much fun.
And I mean, one day, down the road, like that's good. Just going to a game at Commonwealth and watching, like it's so much fun. In my 20s, I used to go with my cousin and a buddy. We used to go to every home game. We didn't have season tickets. We just buy them.
Go.
Yeah.
And we'd always had such a great time. I think there's nothing better.
It goes back to the start
there is, but
start
you know
of,
what I mean.
this whole show was Heritage Classic. Just Commonwealth. When things are happening at Commonwealth, it's a fun
Like a
time,
nice summer
especially when
day.
there's a good amount of people there. You got a buzz. You got a little bit of a vibe going. It's awesome.
Perfect.
It's great.
It's
I love
great.
It, yeah.
Hangout's done.
Wow.
Damn.
2 hours. Come and gone. That's it. Coming
We've
up
got
next.
this guy.
Yeah, it's just breezes. It's just a normal conversation with the three of us. Coming up next, it is the Lock Shop. Huss and Dusty. They'll look back at the weekend. They'll look at the Monday Nighter tonight and maybe some hockey and World Series picks coming up. And then at noon, you're back with Dusty because everything's right in Oilerland again. We're
Today
planning
it
the
is.
parade route. They beat the Calgary Flames. They win the Heritage Classic. You and Dusty with the Oil Stream. That's coming up at noon. Hernan, enjoy your Monday.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's always fun to be on the Hangout and keep crushing it, guys. You guys are doing excellent work, and hopefully we'll see you guys soon on the Hangout.
Long live the Latino.
I want
have
to come
you
back
more-
with JMO one day.
Why? No,
Yeah,
he was supposed to be here
do it.
next time. If
Yeah.
you want, if you're free later this week or next week when he's in, we'll book you too. On behalf of Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas, I'm Iwanyk. Thanks for tuning in on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, on TuneIn, on YouTube to the EST Hangout. Like I said, coming up next, it is the Lock Shop with Dusty and Huss. Stay tuned for that. That's coming up in mere moments.